back at it again for the third time.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me back.
I'm pumped for this one, dude. Yeah. I think like we talked about it right before, like we have some questions for each other that's gonna, I think, even for some of the people that listened to the first podcast all the way to the second, I think a lot of their perspective has changed a lot, especially on our conversation. For the people who haven't, you know, heard the first two podcasts, obviously Kawa's a great guy. Little quick intro, just so everybody kind of knows a little bit who you are. Kawa was a Marine in the beginning of the Iraq invasion. And then after that, it was like post 9/11. Actually, you were in boot camp, right, during 9/11? Is that what it was? Or you?
No, I was in the fleet already. So okay. I came in almost a year before.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you were already in at that time.
Yeah.
So did 2 tours to Iraq, right? With the Marines? Yeah. 2 as a Marine, and then after that, you became a Green Beret. Yeah. So, I mean, pretty damn decorated career, being a Marine and then also going and becoming a Green Beret. And I think for the people that missed on the last podcast, I would encourage them to go watch the first one with you so they can know who you are as a person, because people that have watched some of our shorts have been like, oh man, this guy's crazy or whatever. And I'm like, no, like this guy didn't just wake up and start thinking this shit. This guy's been around the world. He's done a lot of things, you know?
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, you had your shine with, you know, Guy Ritchie on The Covenant, doing your, you know, get blown up by a mortar on the hill, and
my dream was achieved.
Yeah. Exactly. You're on, and actually since then I've been on a show now too, you know, Homestead over there with Vincent Rocco Vargas.
Yeah, you told me about that.
I got on there and I'm actually going back for the 3rd season. So so
nice, man. Congratulations.
Yeah. So it's
fun, right?
Yeah, it's really fun. And then I got to do a little bit of advising that morning, which was really cool. Because Vincent had to go take his son. He was feeling a little ill, and I was helping some of the guys who don't have military experience, but they were like, hey, genuinely nice guys. How do I make it look more realistic? And you know, I was showing a guy how to hold his rifle, for instance. And it was really fun. I had a blast. You know, it's funny because when we watch videos and movies, like as veterans, we're like, oh, dude, that's wrong. But it's really cool to actually go there and see that they actually are very receptive. They just need the right guys to go and actually show them and get insight.
There's a little bit of complexity there, because they definitely need the right guy to go in there and consult or be the tech advisor, military advisor, but they also need to themselves be open to receiving what this guy is saying, because like our only job on a movie, especially a military movie, is to bring authenticity to this movie, you know. But sometimes authenticity doesn't look good on camera, too slow, too boring. So you have to meet the director's vision with the authenticity. So there's that balance. But then you got some directors that, you know, are so close-minded because they have this vision and they're locked in and they're like, that's it, that's what I want. So they may ask you like little technical details, but dude, you'll just sit there all day stuffing food down your mouth, still making really good money, by the way. You know, but with Guy Ritchie, it was amazing because not only is he my favorite director, but then I get to work with this guy and I'm, you know, fanboying over him, and I'm meeting with him every morning. But what I realized with him quickly is that was actually his very first military movie. So he never worked with a military advisor before. He's worked with tech advisors for other stuff, but not a military one. So he was very open-minded to all my suggestions, me dying by a mortar, me being a sniper, having a sniper in the first place.
Yeah.
So it was that, you know, and then Jake Gyllenhaal and all the actors were also very open-minded to the things that I was telling them. So dude, it's just fun, man. It can be fun, like that much fun.
Yeah.
Not to mention Spain for 2 months, but then, or it could be horrendous.
Horrendous. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah. I mean, I took myself off of a Christmas Hallmark movie about a Green Beret because they had so many mistakes and they weren't willing to come back and change them. And at the end of it, I told them to please take me off this. Like,
I actually
don't put my name on this project.
It's interesting you say that, because when I was over there recently, this week, I was supposed to be doing the last part of Homestead season 2.
Okay.
But my part that they were going to put me on completely, the writer, they took it away. Like, it's no longer there. They're like, that's fine. We'll recycle for the 3rd season. We'll bring you on. You'll be one of the first guys. All right, cool. I get it. But it's pretty cool because with that set that they got going over there, it seems like they're being really receptive on like change and like, you know, things change on set. And I'm sure you know this. You know, a vision can change and all of a sudden the whole scene changes, right? But yeah, since the last time also, I got into writing, like actual writing film. And I submitted a
like scripts.
Yes, yeah. I submitted a script to the WGF, and I'm waiting to hear back through their veteran program. If I get approved, it looks like I'll be getting mentored by, you know, 2 of their writers.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, I'm supposed to, hopefully, if I get approved, go down to LA, meet everybody and stuff like that. And
yeah, writing a script is not easy.
I'm going to send you what I wrote. It's actually, you know, prior service Marine comes back, turns into a contractor, sees how fucked up the world is, and you know, something that made sense in my mind. And
right.
And I like it, man. It's really cool, and I'll send it to you so you can check it out. But I got a thrill out of that stuff. So yeah, man. And a lot of it comes from, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's just chatting with you, like even from San Antonio all the way to now. Like you've opened my eyes in a lot of different perspectives, and like I've told people with my prior guests, I don't just like sit here and get the story so we could look cool on YouTube and stuff like that. Like I genuinely listen to everyone's story, and I look into things. I research, just like we talked about in our second episode. Is, you know, use this thing and just, you know, use it the right way, you know?
Right. Just start researching stuff, you know, use whatever resources you're familiar with.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. But, and that's going to go on to what I feel like today's conversation is really going to go into. But before we get there, I wanted to give you a couple of things from some of our sponsors. Obviously Zemo pouches. Cool. They do the nicotine pouches.
Nice. Okay.
I got some slaps. I know you like slaps for all your cases and stuff from Echelon.
Definitely love slaps.
And my good buddy from Static Line, he's still currently in. He's airborne guy, and he's got his own company, and they do, you know, shirts, jackets, hats, and everything.
Nice.
And I got a dump tray from the podcast.
Oh, dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Thank you. I will find somebody that loves these because
I figured you weren't into them, but figured
it's cool though. They have so many flavors.
Yeah, and they're super cool guys, man, and they really support the podcast and stuff. So it's really neat.
Yeah, thank you. I love the tray too. I have a few of these. I use them all differently.
It's funny because somebody goes, "Are you got like rolling trays?" I was like, "No,
yeah,
it's not what it's supposed to be."
I mean, you could,
yeah. But I'm like, all right, in Texas we can't, all right?
Yeah.
Now if we go to another state, it's different. But no, man. I think for this podcast, like we talked about last time about opening our minds and researching and looking into things, that's, I think, what this podcast is about. And that's why I wanted to bring you back on, because the current climate we're in is something that me and you talked about 2 years ago, and people were frowning upon it. Do you remember like all the bashing on the social media, the posts and stuff? Like, you guys are just radical, like you don't get it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of those same people that were opening their mouths 2 years ago are now like, oh shit, like they won't admit it, but they're like, man, maybe these guys were right on what they were talking about, right? So that's what I really want to talk about today, because a lot of stuff that because I remember in the beginning we were talking about, we both supported the fact of Trump going into office over Kamala Harris. Like we were all about it, you know, and I'm saying this for the record, for the camera, I'm not like, oh, we should get Kamala Harris now. No. I'm still with the agreement that she should not be in there. But I think we've now, as Americans, have realized that our country has fallen under control of someone else. And it's now obvious. It's blatantly obvious. And the fact that they put out these very lame excuses, it's embarrassing, and it's sad to see that still so many Americans are still brainwashed by it, and still like, oh, I mean, you guys are just radicals, you guys are crazy, like, no, he's the best president ever, blah, 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 whatever. No, like, and I even see the guy, and I'm not holding it completely against him either. I truly believe that in his heart, I don't think he wants to be this kind of way, but I think he's captured by something else, and we know what that something else is.
This episode of Calling Your Shot is fueled by Echelon Energy Drink, the mission-ready performance drink developed with input from over 2,000 U.S. military service members. Echelon isn't just your average energy drink. It's a pre-workout in a can, packed with 300 milligrams of caffeine, 200 milligrams of L-theanine, beta-alanine, and fiber, formulated for clean, focused energy without the crash. Flavors like Mango Reaper, Yuzu Cayenne, and Berry Habanero are anything but ordinary. Each can delivers bold taste and a long-lasting performance, designed for those who don't back down from a challenge and a little spice. But Echelon's impact goes beyond the can. Their unapologetically military forward branding and real-world product testing build morale and pride within the armed forces. It's not just fuel, it's a reminder of who you are and what you stand for. Check them out at drinkechelon.com. Again, drinkechelon.com, and see why Echelon is the official energy drink of the United States military and now this podcast. Echelon Energy, mission-ready fuel for those who dare.
And he has no choice. And unfortunately, he's where he's at, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the spider web is very complex of what we're talking about with politics, and how you have foreign lobbies that have somehow infiltrated or bought their way into or coerced their way into some level of government or official seat in some position that then somehow shows favor, unconditional favor towards Israel.
Correct.
But yet here, things at home, some of the same concerns and some of the things that we throw money at overseas is happening here in America, and we're not addressing any of that. There's no money for that. And it's these are people that perhaps don't want to be this way, and they're being blackmailed or coerced, maybe threatened even. Who knows? You know, for Trump, maybe, and when I look at Trump in retrospect, when the whole Butler thing happened, and that alleged assassination attempt is what kind of got me,
it got me thinking.
For the first time, I started questioning my support for Trump, because I'm not saying minutes after that, oh, it's fake, it's staged, but I saw that happen, and I was like, immediately, I'm thinking to myself, why? Why would this happen? What is going to come out of this?
Yeah.
And so that, I think, is the turning point for Trump. But now, does that mean that somebody was actually trying to kill him? Allegedly, yes. But who that person was or who that person represents, we never know, right?
Correct.
There's different ways to get a message across when you tell somebody, hey, do things our way or else. The or else can be very creative.
Yeah.
And we see that with even these scientists that have gone missing, one by one, they go missing. It's a suicide or they're just missing.
Well, when you look at the kid who supposedly shot at Donald Trump, and I say supposedly because there's so many variables there. He had ties to his BlackRock, and he was on a commercial with them at one point and stuff like that. And when you look at who are some of the biggest investors in these companies, it goes back to the same people we're talking about, right?
Right.
And when you look at, for example, Donald Trump a couple of years ago when he was campaigning, he said he's going to stop letting these companies buy houses in America and taking it away from American citizens.
Right.
A lot of the stuff he campaigned on, we're all for, and that's why we're upset right now. And I think people forget that. That's why as your friend, Kawa, if you start to, veer away from the line and you start doing some fucked up shit, I would hope that you understand that I'm going to be critical of you and be like, hey, Kawa, what the fuck's going on, man?
Right.
You need to hold yourself, you need to hold some accountability amongst each other, right? And when I tell people, because I'm being critical of Donald Trump doesn't mean that I'm some anti-Trump hater or, some libtard, because apparently they call me some libtard now, and it's whatever. I don't care.
I get called, yeah.
But it's called just having a little bit of intelligence in your brain to understand that it's okay to hold others accountable. Accountability is not a bad thing.
You earned the right to criticize this man to whatever degree you feel like. Yeah. You voted for him.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you didn't vote for him, you're still an American citizen. But if you voted for this man, guess what? My vote also earned me the right to criticize him at whatever degree or level I want to based on his actions. That doesn't make me an anti-Trump. That makes me anti what I think the bigger picture is. Okay. And so that's what gets me, is because if Trump was the only one that was fucked up, he is surrounded by umpteen people that could pull him to the side and say, what are you doing?
Correct.
The only way a Trump gets away with what he does is because he is surrounded by
people in the same situation.
The people that are in the same situation or there to make sure that it goes the right way.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So you got people that are constantly on his hip, the Howard Lutnicks, Jared Kushner's, constantly on his hip. And so these people are meant to be there because this is not a Manchurian Candidate scenario where everybody in America and the American government is pro-America and then somehow China infiltrated this one, No, this is a complete takeover of a system using using the unsaid rule to then either propel you in your career or completely destroy your career.
Yeah.
And so what really gets us is we understand that there is some level of corruption at all levels of the government, but what I think Americans are really getting tired of is the lack of truth, the lack of honesty, the lack of transparency, and the lack of due diligence towards even his own assassination attempt. Why would he not be on the forefront of finding out who actually tried to kill him?
Correct. It just kind of stopped.
Why does Erica Kirk not on the forefront of trying to figure out who killed her husband? Right?
Well, it's simple. It was the tranny-loving guy that apparently...
Because they have a scapegoat that they planned in mind, and that's, look, this is the way it's supposed to play out. Right?
Well, and you know, when you go to that, for example, the Charlie Kirk assassination, there's a lot of variables to that one. And one of the biggest ones for me is, how do you disassemble that rifle so fast and reassemble it and then toss it in trees within a span of minutes?
Without the screwdriver that you used to.
Correct.
Yeah.
And because, look, I'm going to tell you one thing right now, you know, especially you and I both as Marines, how many times do we have to break down a rifle? A lot. It becomes like second nature, right?
Yeah.
And I still can break down a rifle pretty fast.
Yeah, we used to blindfold each other.
Yeah. And, you know, but when you look at the rifle that he supposedly used and stuff, you're like, that's a tough rifle to break down in a very short period of time like that, right?
Right.
And, you know, you start looking at all other sorts of variables and, you know, all kinds of stuff in that situation that just seemed very bad. And what these people don't realize now is that a lot of people are, like, as much as they like to say low IQ, we do have a lot of low IQ people. The national IQ here in America is pretty low, but we do have a lot of smart people here as well too.
Right.
And somebody decided to go look straight for the flight trackers right off the bat. Like, somebody got wise and went and looked. And it's almost like these dudes didn't even think about that. And you got literally a flight that was registered to a very rich person who donates a lot of money to the Jewish community.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it turns off its freaking I'm going to tell you one thing right now. I've flown a lot, especially in the medical side of things and everything. You don't just turn off your tracker. You know what I mean?
The transponder, yeah.
And then all of a sudden turn it right back on after, you know, so many times. And you know, those can all be coincidences, right? But there's so many of them that it's like, it leaves so much question there. And then the way that it just, I mean, the way it played out, I smelled bullshit the whole time. And I mean, I'm not saying that the woman should be hiding under her bed and crying all day and everything, but literally a couple weeks later, you got firework displays and you're out there looking like you're in a WWE event.
And before that, 3 days later, she was on a podcast.
Yes. And then on top of it all, I'm going to be honest with you, if my significant other got brutally murdered on TV like that, I don't think I would be right for a while. I would be like, I'd be kind of fucked up.
The normal person, I mean, the sane person wouldn't, like,
yeah.
You know, I mean, but
I mean,
so you're talking about, you know, the theatrics.
Mm-hmm.
There's theatrics that have to be executed in order to keep us guessing, and they kind of send us in directions, you know. But that's because the script is like tightly written and they don't adjust, if you notice. That's why we're so quickly able to like punch holes in their narrative, is because their narrative is their narrative. Like it's whatever the narrative for, you know, for Charlie Kirk is, that's what it is. Yeah. Like they don't deviate off the narrative.
Yeah.
They don't even read the room. Like the rest of America is like, who is this guy's killer? Who would do this to him?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's this kid and we know it. And like, okay, but what about this? And what about that? And what about that? And they just beat around the bush. Yep. They're like, they don't even answer questions, because now, if you noticed, this has kind of been since Charlie Kirk, to be honest, or maybe even Butler, that when you question these people, Kash Patel's and J.D. Vance's and the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, Trump himself, when you question something that they don't want to answer, they immediately deflect and they call you a disgrace.
Yeah,
and they say you're crazy.
Yeah.
You're a liberal.
Yeah.
You know, this is like you're a nut job, and like this is the norm now. So they're just going to dodge questions by calling me a bad reporter.
They call us low IQ now.
Low IQ, you're fake news. I used to believe in fake news.
Yeah.
When Trump used to say it, but now that Trump is fake news,
you're realizing maybe some of it is not fake, right? I mean, I know the news, it's most of them are all owned by specific individuals, and I get that it's meant to deflect us, but there's so many unbiased sources out there now that are putting out a lot of details and facts and stuff. And it's what I told my mother the other day. I mean, we had the conversation around, my mother thinks I'm like radicalizing and stuff like that. I'm like, no, I'm not, Mom. She's like, well, why did you become a liberal all of a sudden? I'm like, I'm not a liberal either. Fuck those guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck both sides. You know what I'm saying? I said, both sides have one thing in common. They take money from the APAC.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then she's like, well, what's that? And I go, you see, before you start judging me, you need to dig deeper. I go, where are you getting your news from? She's like, Fox News. I was like, that's your problem. Of course. She said, what do you want me to watch, CNN? I was like, no, I don't want you to watch them either.
I know, it's always
those two, right? Yeah. And they don't, again, it goes back to, then you start to hear this whole throwing of low IQ at us, and you're like, no, hold on, maybe your IQ is low because you're so gullible and you're willing to just get brainwashed. Right. You need to fix yourself. And you know, I tell my mother these things because my mother used to be very liberal, and then she changed her political views and everything. And it gets biblical with my mom too, because my mom is a big believer in Christ and everything as well, and so am I. But guess what? And I explained it to my mother yesterday, actually, when we had this long conversation, and it was actually a good conversation to have with her because I knew we were going to be talking today. But I explained to her, I was like, you know, when you look at a lot of these things, and we talked about this a little bit right now as well, a lot of this is biblical, man. It's showing us signs of the end times. This is stuff that we see in the book, you know, and there's this whole scheme of trying to cause distractions, like, you know, for the cameras right now, I am Christian, you are Muslim. Ain't nobody trying to kill each other here right now. You know what I mean? We are friends.
I mean, we're killing this podcast.
Yeah,
but...
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And
we're not killing each other.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, the last time I checked, and my book doesn't teach me to hate you, no matter who you are, and criticize you. The last time I checked, these Christians are out here bashing Muslims and doing all these things. But our book doesn't tell us to do that. In fact, our God frowns upon that. Our God does not want us to judge other people like that. That's his job,
right?
Not ours. So for me to sit here, whether you are a radical Muslim or not, it's not my job to judge you or to think. It's crazy how all of a sudden we're willing to go to prisons and willing to go to the streets and find homeless and find the lost and try to lead them to the direction of the Lord. But then we find some individuals that are Muslim, and now we're like, oh no, we don't do with those guys. They're terrorists. They blow themselves up. They're radicals. Allah tells them to kill us. Allah tells them that they have 72 virgins in heaven if they kill us and stuff like that. And I'm like, have you even tried to Google some of the stuff that the Quran says? In fact, I'm gonna bring this up right now. Not that I want to get super biblical with this, but when you look at all these books, the Torah, the Quran, the Holy Bible, there's one book that does not acknowledge Jesus Christ. You know which that one is?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the Quran, right?
No, it's not the Quran.
It's definitely not the Quran. But again, I've done my homework. I've done the due diligence to go back and look. You know, after our second conversation, really after our second conversation, was I really started to dive deeper, right? And I've acknowledged that, you know, like so many of these answers are right in front of us, yet we find our sources from Fox News, CNN, TikTok, whatever the hell it is, you know, and we're over here fighting with each other. And then when you go back and, like you said, you call them out on these things, oh, you're an idiot, you're a liberal, you're a radicalized Muslim,
you're a disgrace,
you're a disgrace. Yeah, you're all these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I remember when I was a kid, when I was like 6 or 7, whatever years old, that's how we bicker at each other when we know we're not right? Like, oh, you're stupid, you know, like stuff like that. That's exactly how you sound when you do that.
Right.
You want to have a debate with me. And that's something that I liked about Charlie Kirk. A lot of people would go fight with him, and mind you, I'm sure he prepped really well, but most of the time that's why he destroyed them, because none of them came with actual data to argue them. I've seen like 2 or 3 guys that actually went there, and they had him like literally having a very solid debate, and even he was like, oh, like, you know, damn, you can see he was getting frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I liked about the guy. And what I liked about the guy is at the very end of his life, he was starting to wake up. He was starting to say things like me and you are saying right now. And those things, I think, are what got him to where he's at today. And, you know, whether it happened or not, I believe that very close to the end of his days, he said something very serious on a podcast where he was calling out the nation of Israel and the stuff of going on in Palestine. Right. Because if Charlie Kirk truly was a godly man like he said he was, I'm sure in his heart he knew that was not right.
Yeah.
It's not right.
And again, I think the thing with Charlie Kirk is you can't be like on team love Charlie Kirk, team hate Charlie Kirk. You have to be nuanced with Charlie Kirk because like I like Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
But he says some vile, foul shit about Muslims.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
And he's wrong. But I can't be angry at the guy for his ignorance. He just never took the time or maybe had the self-discipline to go research Islam and be like, well, hold on, I'm about to make this statement about Islam on this stage. Maybe I should actually research it if I'm going to make it. But that's the thing, is that a lot of the ignorance that comes towards Muslims is because of a lack of education, and that's a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah.
If the information is there, and we sit here as Muslims and we say that Quran has not been changed from the 23 years that it took to give to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to today, has not been changed, corrupted, changed, altered at all. So pick up the book if it hasn't been changed, right, and read it because we stand behind it. So show me where it says to kill non-Muslims, right? Because
apparently that's like in there all the time, apparently.
Well, but it's not in there though.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's not in there. There's passages in the Quran. So people have to understand that when the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, it was revealed to him for 23 years. And it came to, and every revelation that he got came to him at a moment of time where he was at a crossroads, or he just was indecisive or didn't know what to do. He was just lost.
Yep.
Okay, but so he got revelations day after day after day. He got revelations, and this is how the Quran comes about. But he is, but when it comes to like the alteration of the Quran, the way it's been preserved is because in a lot of countries there are academies of Islamic schools where these kids go to voluntarily and memorize the Quran. I mean, have you seen the videos of like 40 kids sitting and just reading the Quran in this room?
Yeah. And
like they literally do that. So it's been also preserved verbally as well. But you have to look at the context. So when you say that in the Quran it says kill all non-Muslims, well, show me where, right?
Correct.
One.
Yeah.
But then two, did you read the passages before that and after that? Because the Quran's not written like the Bible, where you can just take one verse and pull it out and give a whole thing about it, right?
Yeah, there's context prior and post as well.
So you have to read, like, if you're gonna verse Surah 2 verse 9, Surah 2 verse 191, which is the most kind of quoted verse ever, which is basically, kill all non-Muslims, right? Is if you have to read 190 before that, and you have to read all the way to 193 to understand that this is not about killing non-Muslims. This is about self-defense. And what happens in self-defense? What am I allowed to do? Am I allowed to kill people? Yes. If they are oppressing you, if they're attacking you, occupying you, and there is no room for treaties or truces, then you're allowed to fight back.
Yeah.
And that's the only time. But at no point do you aggress. At no point, if the battle is won and you have the upper hand and you know it. In fact, this has been well documented in Prophet Muhammad's battles, that when he knew he had the upper hand in a battle, he would send out messengers for a treaty. He didn't slaughter everybody, but he slaughtered people. He killed people that he had to because it was self-defense. I mean, you have to read the context. Why was he given that verse in the first place? Because during the years when that verse was given to him, revealed to him, he was the most attacked, not just by, and when we say non-Muslims, we're talking about Christians, Jews, pagans, idol worshippers, his own people, right? Other Arabs.
Yeah.
He was being attacked from all sides.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is the whole self-defense context of kill non-Muslims.
Well,
and that goes for a lot of things in the Quran. So that's why, the 72 versions, that's not in the Quran. That's in the Hadiths. Right. And people will say, well, 72 virgins. But in the Torah, in the Old Testament, there is also verses where people like Abraham are giving 100 wives to people.
Yeah.
Right? I forget the verse from the Old Testament, but so maybe you can put it on the screen. But it's the verse where he's talking about, he's going to give the rewards of everything to the people. Like everybody can have the women, you can have the cattle, the livestock, you can have the land, right? I think it's either that one or another one where it says kill all males and male children, keep the female children for yourself.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna say, well, Muslims get 72 virgins in heaven, then I can also say, well, according to your Old Testament, you're supposed to get 100 virgins or maybe 100 women in heaven.
Yeah, exactly. You spin it to your own context, right? And I think,
but none of them were written that way, though.
I know, right? Exactly. And but the problem is like you just mentioned right now, nobody's willing to actually dive deep into the book. And the other day I had somebody arguing with me regarding all of the Muslims from Lebanon who are trying to kill the Israelis and the Jews and all this stuff. And I go, is Lebanon a 100% Muslim country? They're like, of course. I go, are you sure? I go, actually, Lebanon is huge with Christianity. There
50-50.
Exactly, 50-50. I have plenty of friends from Lebanon. And it's funny because people have told me, you have some Arabs from Lebanon on your Instagram? I go, I do. And
Lebanon is almost the perfect, like, ideal middle ground.
Correct.
An example of how Christianity and Islam coexist.
And exactly.
Thrive.
And that's why I think Lebanon has been also restricted of a lot of it. And I know Lebanon has had its own issues with its own government and stuff like that, but especially with their bank systems and all that stuff. But ultimately, that is an example right there that they can coexist. It does happen. Palestine as well. There's so many Palestinian people that are Christians.
Right.
Syrian
Christians.
Do you remember exactly? Do you remember? And we're going to talk about that right now because we really got to talk about Syria because I think I know where I'm going with this one.
Okay.
But the biggest thing that I've explained to somebody is there was a video. Do you remember when supposedly, one of the times the IDF was pulling out of the Strip and they were getting out of the West Bank and stuff? There was a group of Palestinians and they had Crusader flags and they were throwing rocks at the IDF guys. Those weren't Muslims.
The white ones.
Those were not Muslims.
No.
Yeah, those were not Muslims, and they're literally tired of that shit. And you and I both, we have friends, we have colleagues who probably in that region right now, right? And a lot of the climate that we hear from those guys, especially there was a guy that me and you mutually were hanging out with in San Antonio, and he was over there for almost a year. And even he said, he's like, fuck Hamas and fuck those other guys too. And when I say the other guys, it's the Israelis, the IDF, because he saw exactly what was going down there. And I get it. There's radicals in every single area, right? There is, you've had to fight against the Taliban and stuff like that in Afghanistan and everything. So you understand, like, there's bad dudes, man. You know what I mean? And what some
there has to be.
Exactly.
It's a functioning part of society.
Exactly.
You can't just have all good people. That's not realistic.
That's not how it works.
But yeah, you're right, man. You can name it, any demographic, female, male, old, young, fat, skinny, and then religions and skin colors.
There's going to be a bad person everywhere.
Always. But there's also the double standard of, if it's like a Muslim, it's all Muslims. It's all Muslims.
Yeah.
Right? But if it's a Christian, it's like, no, he just has mental health issues.
Well, I think what people fail to look at, exactly. What I think people fail to look at as well with the Muslim community, and I think it's because, again, people are very brainwashed and don't care to read into things. Excuse me. But just like in the Christian community, you have like the Baptists who are a little bit more hardcore. Remember the Westboro Baptist Church? Those guys were fucking awful, man.
Yeah, in Florida.
Those guys are terrible people. Like they said things that you're like, yeah, God said none of that stuff. Like you
right.
Like nobody wants you, But it's the same thing in the Muslim community. You have different versions of Muslims, right? You have Shias, you have Sunnis, you have different cultures.
There's like 56 Muslim countries in the world.
Yes. So you're gonna have different cultures, different environments, and what people don't understand is because one guy decided to be crazy, that doesn't mean that's what you're going to do. In fact, and I like to bring you up because you are literally like when I hear the stories of like, oh yeah, Kawa seems to be like radicalizing. I'm like, what are you talking about? That guy literally wears that American flag hat every day. He's fought his ass off for this country and he continues to do so, and I'm assuming you're still in, right? Like, or you're finally out.
No, I'm in the
that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like for somebody that is such a radical like that, you know, well, one, he probably should have shot something up already in the last 20 years. You know what I mean? Like something. And the guy continues to serve this country.
Right.
He wants what's right for this country because he came here. If you listen to the first podcast, you came to this country. It gave you life. It gave you, you know, the freedom of being here in this country, and you were able to live the way you were supposed to. And what a lot of people don't understand, and this is what I get really mad about, Callum, is in this country, I hate when people are like, oh, immigrants, blah, blah. I get it. You and I both agreed. Let's get all the bad dudes out of here. Let's get them out. Like, let's let ICE take advantage. Of course. Yeah. The actual really bad ones. Let's get them out of here.
For it.
But this country's made out of immigration. In fact, when you start to look at the people who also criticize immigrants, including, well, let's even talk about a lot of the people who are part of the current Israeli government. Were they not immigrants? They fled Eastern Europe during World War II.
Yeah, I mean,
and they got welcomed.
Yahoo Mawlayee is from Poland.
Exactly. Yeah. And what happened? They got welcomed with open arms to that region of where they believed it was the Holy Land. And what happened? Eventually they realized they could not get along with the people next to them, and they wanted it all for themselves. And then they said, well, our book told us that this is what belongs to us.
Promised land.
Exactly. And so, you know, and I'm not trying to get so deep in that, but it goes back to those things where it's like.
But you have hardcore Christians. You have hardcore Christians, evangelicals, who also will say the same thing about America, that God promised this land.
Yeah, those are called Zionists, man.
Well, it's their way of deflecting, right? Yeah, they're deflecting from the truth of it, which is, no, God didn't promise land to anybody except once. And when he was betrayed, he said, all deals off.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but for, you know, the truth is, we know the truth of America and how it started and what we had to do to make it. And
exactly.
And we can call it sacrifices or we can call it collateral damage, but a lot of people died to make this country. You know, a lot of indigenous people died.
A lot of them.
And don't forget that we were the immigrants. They were indigenous, right?
Yep. Exactly.
And people can say, well, my family's been here since Plymouth Rock. I don't give a fuck, dude.
Exactly.
You're a blink of an eye. You're a blink of an eye in the overall kind of historical timeline.
Yeah.
I don't care if your family, okay, well then I can tell you in that case, I can say that Islam was in America before Christianity was, because there's documented travels from Muslim Spaniards and other people who came, actually lived among the people, converted some people. And don't forget that 80% of the black slaves that we brought to this country were also Muslims before we forced them and converted them into Christianity.
Correct. And a lot of people don't realize there's so many Muslims in Africa. I mean, I produce a podcast here. There's some really cool guys from Africa, and they're Muslim. Right? And we don't kill each other.
Yeah.
They haven't killed me yet. You know what I mean?
Well, that whole thing of killing each other is so ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Man. They take a scenario that they have created, right? Because we're watching a game show in the Middle East. And that's what it's been. As long as we've had TV, it's been a game show. So we're watching this game show unfold where we come in as the good guys and save the day because there's a bad guy in this neighborhood. It's always a bad guy in this neighborhood. Why is there always a bad guy in the Middle East?
Yeah.
Right? We've identified that China's pretty bad. They could be. We identified that Russia's pretty bad. North Korea's pretty bad. Cuba.
Yeah.
So why are we not villainizing and always constantly attacking and building bases and occupying these other lands?
No, exactly. And you would think, like, for example, Cuba, where a lot of Cubans want liberation from that regime that they have down there.
Well, Cuba's next on the list.
Oh, it is. It's coming. So then power outages keep happening. But
world tour.
Yeah, but when you look at Cuba, for example, it is right there next to us. It's right there off the coast of Florida.
Right.
And if we're so all about, again, and now I'm going to bring into where some of my radical thoughts come from. If we were all about liberating people and helping people, don't you think we would have already fucking helped the Cubans a long time ago and made that land ours as well?
The Haitians.
Yeah. Why don't we exactly? Why don't we go take that? But guess what? There's not a lot of resources that are good for us in those regions. And when you start to look at Venezuela, I know plenty of Venezuelan people, a lot of them. They are all excited and happy that Maduro's gone. And I get it. Maduro is a piece of shit. He was. Right. He's a piece of shit guy. But guess what? We weren't there to truly liberate them from Maduro. Now we're going to let them figure it out. But we're there for one thing only. And that one thing...
oil.
Exactly. And
for Israel, by the way.
Exactly. And we did... where else did we do that when there was a lot of weapons of mass destruction?
This episode of Calling Your Shot is brought to you by Zemo Pouches, a bold, tobacco-free nicotine pouch that delivers flavor, comfort, and independence from big tobacco. Crafted with a unique water-free semi-dry formula, Zemo pouches offer a steady release of nicotine and long-lasting taste. Made with soft, non-woven cotton imported from the UK, these slim pouches are gentle on the gums and built for all-day comfort. Zemo doesn't cut corners when it comes to flavor. Whether it's blueberry, grape, or wintergreen, every pouch packs a punch, thanks to high-quality ingredients sourced from their top-tier UK suppliers. Plus, each pouch uses pharmaceutical-grade nicotine, so you know you're getting premium quality with every pull. Zemo is proudly independent, no corporate giants, just a mission to give you a smarter, better option. Explore all of their flavors and strengths at ZemoPouches.com. Again, ZemoPouches.com. Zemo Pouches. Flavorful. This episode is brought to you by Static Line Company, founded and operated by a current U.S. Army airborne paratrooper who knows exactly what it means to earn your gear. Static Line Company brings you mission-ready apparel, patches, and everyday essentials built to perform, whether you're on the grind, in the gym, or out in the field. I rock the gear myself. My personal favorite is the team hat, and trust me, it's become part of my daily rotation. Check them out on staticlineco.com, and don't forget to use code CYS10 at checkout for 10% off your order. Static Line Company, built for the mission, worn with purpose. Check them out, guys.
In Iraq, and let me ask you another question, because a lot of
all of us popped our cherries in Iraq.
Yeah, and I want to bring this up because a lot of people fail to see this. How many times in the last 20 years of war that this country has been in have you seen the IDF truly go in and do ground operations with the United States and assist?
Zero.
In fact, our downed pilot that we were out there searching for, they are like, we're not going to go help, even though we're there off of, in my opinion, their order.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can't sit there and your great Israeli intelligence stuff like that go out there and help us get our guy out of there who's over there helping you. No, they don't want us to. They
had 25 years to help us in Afghanistan. They had 25 years to help us in Iraq. They had ample opportunity to help us across the different Middle Eastern region with countries. They never once sent a soldier. Right. The only time they send soldiers is to occupy. What are they doing in South Lebanon?
And then they like to talk about, well, our military is not an offensive type military. It's a defensive type military. Yeah, no. Well, you sure are on the fucking offense right now.
IOF.
Yeah. And it's like, it's frustrating to see that. And, for me daily, I do get frustrated and pissed off because I want more and more people to start waking up. And I think we're getting there. I think we truly are starting to see a lot of Americans waking up. I think our next generation is not going to buy this shit at all.
No.
I think they're getting there. I think the older folks are still, they're stuck in the limbo. But, it's crazy, man. Like, I mean, I know right now it seems like we're kind of circling all over the place, but it's all referring to the same thing. And, it's something that I want people to start to watch. And at first I used to be very timid and worried to bring these conversations up. But you saw, man, I got my Black Flag Studios page torn down. I got my podcast shut down for a little bit. I got censored because, apparently I was anti-Semitic because I wrote a freaking comment on something that had nothing to do with insulting Jewish people at all, and for the record, for the camera right now, I don't hate Jewish people. I don't.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good Jewish people.
There is.
You see in Tel Aviv all the protests.
Yeah.
By the Jewish people who are not just anti-Zionism, because there's that crowd.
Correct.
Too, but then you have just modern or moderate kind of Jews who are like, dude, enough is enough. Like,
exactly.
I get that we're supposed to be Israel, but like all this killing and you guys, then you make us a target. Right?
Well, a lot of people don't see that there's division in that nation too.
They're the size of New Jersey. They're not hard to miss, because everyone's honed in on them. And so their people are tired of it. That's why there's an uprising. That's why before October 7th, there was practically a civil war in Israel. And Netanyahu was about to go to jail for corruption. And then October 7th happens, and now he's not going to leave office during a war.
He can't go out anywhere during a war. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same concept. So yeah, dude. And so you got Jewish people in New York that, I mean, I follow several solely Jewish pages on social media that are pro-Palestinian, anti-Zionist. Yep. So yeah, you can't say that you hate all Jewish people.
No.
And because that would defeat our whole argument.
And I think that's where I also wanted to come and clear my words on camera, because obviously I know after this podcast I'm going to get so much shit, and I don't care. I'm fine with it. I don't dislike Jewish people. I don't hate them. I definitely don't. What I dislike, and when I say hate, it's a big word, because if we're gonna be held accountable over here as Christians,
right,
and tell me verses because of what I said about, you know, the war in Iran and all this stuff, and throw my book at me, I'm gonna throw it right back at you too. Our God does not teach to hate anybody. Our God does not tell us to hate others in that book. So if we're going to go and refer to the book, let's go and refer to it 100% at the time, right? So that's what I want to comment.
Yeah, because we'll find in the Bible where it says to hate people.
Yeah.
You won't find that, just like you won't find in the Quran to just indiscriminately kill people.
Correct.
Right.
And that's where, you know, a lot of people have that little argument, whatever, but find it for me and then show me. And then maybe we can have a conversation.
Now, the Old Testament, that's a little different.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a different story, right? But, you know, in general, though, you know, we can go, you know, circling all over the place. And like I tell some of my friends who are very, like, super Christian, and they tell me, like, Chris, you're sounding a little crazy. I go, let's go back to who actually, I go, are you a big believer of Jesus Christ? Of course. I go, okay. Who killed Jesus Christ? Who put the hit on Jesus Christ? They're like, well, you know, Pontius Pilate. And so I was like, oh, hold on. That's the hitman. Who persecuted him and wanted him dead?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not even going to say the word for them right now. I'm just going to let you go look it up.
Yeah.
Who put our man down, right?
Right. And who also refers to him in their book as boiling in excrement, in his own excrement.
Correct.
You know,
we go back to last week, IDF troops, and the IDF had no choice but to admit that one. Literally bashing Jesus Christ with a sledgehammer. And you're going to tell me that those people love us and that we should go and fight and die for them?
Right.
You know,
they're the chosen people.
As veterans, as people who have served this country right here, man, don't you think how many people do you know that have lost their lives? I'm pretty sure you can't even count it right now. I have names on my freaking wristband of people who have lost their lives for these people.
Right.
All for what? For this freaking damn agenda that they have?
Yeah.
I mean, years ago, we were all gung-ho, right? Let's go get those guys who did these things to us and everything. But now you start to look at it, and you almost feel defeated, man, because you're like, we did terrible things in all these places.
Yeah. Because
we thought we were, you know, over there, red, white, and blue, serve our country and stuff.
Fighting for freedom and democracy.
Yeah. All what we were doing was fighting for the rich and for these powerful people.
Yeah.
You know, and then we go back to even just the Epstein stuff.
Right.
And then you realize that those people who were putting us in those situations, look what they do to children. In my book, it doesn't tell me to do that stuff to children.
No, and it doesn't in mine either.
Yeah.
And I mean, this goes back to what we were saying earlier before the show about how they have infiltrated every vertical of society.
Correct.
To hit us from all angles.
Yep.
Right? Finances. Like, people are not making a lot of money right now. On top of that, groceries are very expensive. Oil or gas is expensive. The cost of living in general is very expensive. And they got us financially. They got us with our foods, 3D printed steaks and fake foods and fake meat. They got us with the education.
Maybe they got kosher food.
Yeah, they got kosher food. Yeah, and we got halal food.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But normal Americans who shop at the grocery store, they have
getting shit.
They have sprayed food and genetically modified food, and they have us from big pharma, COVID-19 to the vaccines to the flus. They have us that way. They have us on the education system. It's basically Schofield 2.0 that's getting pushed into these textbooks, right? They got us from every angle, because not only do they have us from every angle and every vertical of our society, but then they have us so divided by creating issues that possibly at one point did not exist or did not need to escalate to this place.
Right.
Right. So whether it's BLM, Antifa, or whether it's pro-Christian nationalist, you know, groups of white men, Muslims versus Christians, cops versus black people. I mean, this is all very well played out kind of, SOP book
Yeah.
of how to control a population, how to keep them suppressed so they don't unite. How can we unite and come against a tyrannical government when we can't even agree on, stupid shit like whether you eat steaks or I eat vegan?
Yeah, correct.
Like, who gives a fuck?
It's the perfect thing to keep people fucked though, like in between that limbo.
Dude, I mean, listen, like, I don't care how you live your life. LGBT, fucking, whatever, dude. You're swingers. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
This is America. Do what you want. I fully support all your rights and civil liberties. But at the same time, what they do at the top to create that divide is to find a way to shove it down your face.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at what Biden did with COVID and with taking a knee, and all that shit. Like, that's all theatrics. It's the theatrics we were talking about. Exactly. They have to keep going. The show has to keep going.
Yep. Kawa, and when we go, let's go talk real quick. I'm going to talk about, the blindsiding that they like to give us.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Dearborn, Michigan, right? They're like, the Muslims have taken over.
Right.
And is there maybe some Muslims that are taking a little overboard? Possibly, anywhere.
But
right?
define that.
Yeah.
But
that's
define
what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying right now. So could there be some a little bit of over control in some ways of like, okay, maybe.
Yeah, like, what do you want? Do you want to inject white people? What do you want?
What I'm getting at here with the Dearborn situation is, okay, so there's a mass amount of Muslims in Dearborn. They're, apparently suicide bombing on the streets and shit, which they're not. But you know what I'm saying? I'm getting at this point. But there's a place in New Jersey right now that there's Israeli flags in every fucking corner.
Right.
The moment I say something bad about that, I'm threatened. They can call the police on me. They can do all these things. How come we can't say, hey,
and don't forget you're antiseptic.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. How come I'm not. And what I'm getting at is right now, I could go to Dearborn, Michigan and call them every bad name in the book as Muslims and tell them bad things, and I'll probably be fine.
If you went to Dearborn, Michigan and you started yelling at the Muslims, they'd be like, who's this crazy Muslim guy yelling at us?
Yeah.
Because you would fit right in.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I mean, you have the complexity, you have the beard, or the complex, your skin complexity and complexity. What am I saying?
Yeah.
And then you have, you look Muslim, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you look more Muslim than I do, to be honest.
No,
you have an actual beard. I have this bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So like, the thing is, most people can go to Dearborn, Michigan and get a very warm welcome by these people. Now, the reason Dearborn exists is because Arabs just didn't decide to show up to Dearborn in the 80s. Like Somalis in St. Paul, they've been in that neighborhood for at least the last century. Mm-hmm. Both Somalis in St. Paul, Arabs, Middle Easterners in Dearborn have been there for at least the last century.
Yep.
So this is a community that grew over time. They adapted to the societal ways of America. They are still holding on to their traditions and their religion. They have congregated because, listen, if you went to, let's say, Poland, and how happy would you be to meet another American who spoke English when you've been just struggling to speak Polish to all these people?
Yeah, I'd be excited.
They give you some relief, right? Some comfort, like, holy shit, thank God. Well, this is exactly what happens in these micro societies.
It's like if we go to some of the areas in Queens, right? We find all these Puerto Ricans.
Right.
Does that mean that
they congregate?
Freaking Puerto Ricans are trying to take over the world?
No, naturally they congregate.
They're going to go next to the people that they feel comfortable with.
Right. And if they adapt successfully, then guess what? They're going to have a strong education. They're going to get a nice job. That job may lead to a career. That career may be politics. It may be on the city council. That doesn't mean that there's a takeover of Islam in Dearborn. It means that the people that have been coming there for the last century have adapted to this country enough, and they're abiding by our laws enough to live successful, happy lives and come up naturally in society.
Kawa, and what I was getting at with that is basically I can go bash Muslims in Dearborn right now and get away with it. And if I go to New Jersey and bash why the hell is there Israeli flags flying higher than my American flag,
the Jewish police would come after you.
Exactly. Have you seen that shit that they have over there? They have like the
they privatize everything.
Yeah, it's insane.
They have their own cops.
And even me saying that right now, I'm now considered anti-Semitic.
And can we sprinkle some fraud onto that community? Like,
exactly.
Do we not have 20 people living in a house? Do they not have 17 kids each? right? Sucking up sucking on the teat of the social programs that we have put in place in this program,
you know,
sucking taxpayer money dry.
You know, we're going to sit there like, okay, let's talk about fraud. We're going to talk about the Somalis in Minnesota. Is there fraud? Fuck yeah, there was definitely fraud. Yeah. And Tim Walz is all behind that too.
There's oil fraud here in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. But let's also now go see how many guys, okay, real quick. How many people in the last 6 months have been pardoned by President Trump himself for fraud?
Bro.
And when you go look at the history of these people, who are they?
They're white people. Oh, no,
yeah, but are they Somalis? Are they no, they're not. You know what they are? They're white people, and a lot of them have one thing in common. They're Jewish. Or they say they're Jewish.
Or they have a lot of money.
Correct.
And Xi Jinping or whatever his name is, the guy that from Binance.
And I shouldn't say Jewish. I should say Zionist is what I should say.
No, yeah,
Zionist. That's what they really are.
Yeah, if you want to put hate on something, then hate Zionism.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I really mean.
Yeah,
you know, but you want to go into fraud.
It's double standards. And
how many? Remember when everybody was pissed off about Biden pardoning so many people and wanting to pardon everybody else? I'm like, fuck's happening right now, and we're not bitching about it now. If we're gonna get pissed off about one thing, we need to hold a double standard on both sides, and that's why this government is failing. That's why the Mexican government has failed, because there's no double standard. It's only my way or the highway, and that's where, you know, we're never gonna get better if we continue to play these games. Do I think, you know, and again, I'm not saying I'm Democrat or anything, because I mean, shit, the candidates they got right now, I'm like, God, Lee, seriously? Like, you have a chance to actually make something for yourselves right now, but look who you have. But they all have one thing in common, Kawa. We talked about this in our last podcast. They're all taking money from the same source. And that same source is the same source that's keeping all of us divided.
Right. Yes, they're part of it for sure. I mean, AIPAC and these lobbies, these corporations that are Israeli owned, they're all in cahoots with each other. They're all part of the same team. And that's how they get away with it. The IRS will come after you for a $600 audit, right? And freeze your assets and maybe even take your pay. But Trump just pardoned a guy for $40 million fraud, you know, for health.
Was it the dude that was only, and then there was a couple, also they claimed the daycares of the Somalis, which is true, but there was also nursing home fraud being done by a couple Zionist folks themselves. And those are public record. You can actually look it up on the FBI database. It's there.
So fraud is everywhere. So why are we isolating Somalis?
Yeah.
Let's
go after everybody.
One reason.
Yeah.
They're isolating Somalis because they're Muslim, at least in that community.
Well, and it's easy to point the picture as like, you see, it's just them.
The Islamophobia campaign is at full throttle.
Yeah.
And it has been for a while now. They have to. Again, it goes back to what I said about the playbook. The other part of the playbook is, how do you portray your victim, right?
Yeah.
How does your victim portray themselves versus how do you portray them? Well, if you own all the media and have all the money and have all the resources, it doesn't matter how the victim portrays himself. The Epstein victims, the Gazans, the hundreds of thousands of children that died in Gaza, you know, they labeled all of them as Hamas, all of them, right? And so And it's just so, like, it's just this crazy double standard that we live by, where the government will come after you for trying to earn a living, but we'll turn a blind eye and hook up the homies because, well, we got some coins in that pot too.
When you look at, for example, what Donald Trump said before he ran about us giving a lot of money to Afghanistan, the Doha deal was going to happen regardless, as long as the Taliban was able to maintain certain standards. And that started since the Obama administration, after Sarah Adams did her due diligence and snagged that dude. Mm-hmm. I think it was second or third in command.
Yeah.
They instead of, she wanted to kill him. And she said this publicly on Sean Ryan's podcast. I was ready to drop a fucking hellfire on the guy. I'm done. And came down from DC. He's gone. We want him alive. They took him to Doha, and that's where the deal was made.
Right.
And that deal was that the Taliban had to meet certain standards. And then they would get money, they would get funding, but they had to continue with what we had already started in Afghanistan.
Right.
Schools, all these different things. Instead, they were not ready yet during the Biden administration. He decides to just fucking pull out like an idiot, leaves the whole vetting system for the Taliban, so they now can see who helped the Americans while we were there.
Right.
You know, gives them the money that they were supposed to get if they met the standards, does all these things. And then what did Donald Trump say? I'm going to stop that because they were not ready to be these people yet. I'm going to fix that. Has the money stopped going to Afghanistan?
No,
fuck no, it isn't. It's still going.
30 million a week, right?
It's still going.
Yeah.
It's still going. And mind you, this guy told us no, but guess what? Just like you said before, you have to fund the common enemy that we're going to eventually have later on down the road again. Remember, we were helping them against the Russians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when we start to look, I mean, it's simple. People just open your eyes and read a little bit. When you start to look at, for example, we talked about Afghanistan and everything. Let's go to Syria. The guy in charge of Syria right now.
Jolani. That's his real name.
Do you remember how many times in briefs in the military have you seen his name on the list?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's been on our most wanted list for
forever. You can go Google it right now. You'll see his picture. Yeah.
2 decades, maybe more. I mean, almost since the beginning of Iraq and Afghanistan, he's been on our wanted list.
And now he's kicking in D.C.
He's a senior Al-Qaeda terrorist and leader, and he did some stuff with Al-Nusra Front, and it bled over to Al-Qaeda a little bit, but you know, and we had a wanted poster with his picture and name on there for, I believe, $10 million.
Yeah, I think it's $10 million.
You know, which is not a lot, but $10 million for a terrorist. And then next thing we know, he's in the Oval Office shaking hands with Trump.
Isn't that crazy, man?
Right?
Oh, meanwhile, Christians are getting slaughtered in Syria because now you have all this chaos going on. You're allowing for the actual legit insurgency to take over. Mind you, before all this happened, that same group of insurgents that was slaughtering Christians in Syria was the same people we were giving weapons to fight off the Syrian regime,
100%.
Assad and his regime, right? It's the same thing, man. It's a fucking circle.
Yeah, because we created those proxies, man.
Yeah.
We created ISIS, we created Al-Qaeda, and we also funded them and we trained them and we allowed them to just kind of roam free in this little arena and do as much damage as you can.
Yeah.
And so the same way the Taliban gets $30 million a week, Israel also gives Hamas $30 million a month or so.
Yeah.
Through Qatar.
Yeah.
Because we set up offices. Obama did.
Forgot who that guy was, but he exposed how Bibi was like putting a lot of money into Hamas.
Yeah, because, you know, the thing is that when I say Israel created Hamas, I mean literally Israel created Hamas as a justification to do what they do, steal land, kill people.
Yep.
And he needed a bad guy because the actual resistance forces in the early days of Palestine didn't have a name. I mean, Hamas didn't come around until 1987, 1885 maybe, you know? So who was the bad guy before 85? Who were you? Who was the boogeyman that you were fighting and killing all these Palestinians for before 85? And now we know for a fact through exposés and documentaries and stuff like that, where these people have come out and said, Bibi Netanyahu not only created Hamas, but he funded Hamas, and then he asked for more funding for Hamas, especially leading up to October 7th. Did you know that a month before October 7th, Netanyahu wrote a letter to Qatar to increase the money to Hamas from 30 million to 55 million?
Yeah.
And so and we do the same thing.
Well, of course.
All the Christians and the Muslims that died in Syria died by the proxies that we created.
Correct. We created them.
Right?
Yeah.
We put a Al-Qaeda terrorist in charge of Syria, brought him to the White House when last week we wanted to kill him.
Correct.
So this is how it works then,
yeah.
Right? 1 week I can be a terrorist. The next week I can be the president of somewhere.
You know what bothered
me? Who do I have to play? But who do I have to play ball with?
I know.
To get to that.
You know what bothered me about that is you're over there on TV talking about how we will make everybody who has killed an American troop pay. But now you're shaking hands with a dude that killed a fuck ton of Americans.
Directly.
Exactly.
Directly is I mean, I think he's been, like, his kill count, I think, is in the thousands, I think.
Yeah.
By his hands or his
Remember
guys.
In the beginning of the war, too, beheadings and stuff like that, they were all led by him.
Yeah.
And we're going to sit here and shake his hand in the Oval Office?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
we put him in charge?
The guy? Yeah.
But wait a minute, we but we freed Syria. Syria's freed. The women are not oppressed anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, look, when Bashar al-Assad was in office, his wife, she wasn't wearing a burqa. She had her hair did, makeup did, nice outfit, just like Melania, classy lady. But now Shara shows his wife, or Jolani shows his wife, and she's in a full burqa, right? And I made a joke about how he's forcing her to wear that, when in Islam, we don't force the women to wear these head coverings. They do it the same reason that Jesus's mother, peace be upon both of them, covered her head, Mary. We do it the same reason. And the women in Islam cover their heads for modesty and to keep men from gazing at them. But my point is that I kind of blanked out. I apologize.
You're good. It's so much.
This part out.
It's so much. No, you.
But you got this guy who has his wife on stage, and this is what oppressing these people look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then his dogs, right, are the ones that are killing all these Christians, Assyrians, Muslims. Mm-hmm. They're killing the same way in Nigeria. You got the RSF, or in Sudan, you got the Qatari-backed RSF killing Christians and Muslims in Sudan for the resources and the gold. You got the same thing in Nigeria. You got the French, and you got Israel that has their hands in Nigeria, and there's a bunch of killing of Christians in Nigeria. It's through these militias that we've created.
Well, it goes to also, for example, we start talking about Qatar and Saudi Arabia with the princes and stuff like that. A lot of these people are like, look at them, like they're different from the rest, and they're not. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're freaking wealthy, and they do a lot of crazy shit that you don't believe. And when you start to look at the Epstein files, you have a lot of them on those files as well, especially a lot of their senior leadership, right?
Right.
But now we go back to, for example, the guys in some of these, like the UAE and stuff like that, some of these really high profile rich princes and stuff like that, watching porn on their cell phones, hiring prostitutes and stuff like that. I'm going to ask you something right now, and I think we can both agree from both sides of our religion, that's something we shouldn't be doing.
I mean, it's against both of our religions.
Exactly. And most Muslim people that I've met that are legit, sincere Muslim people and really nice people would agree with me 100% right now. We're not supposed to be doing that.
No.
So stop portraying them as Muslims. That's like me sitting there and saying all Catholics are child predators.
Yeah, I would never, if I was like in an airport and I looked over a priest's shoulder and he was on OnlyFans or something like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit there and be like, look at all these Christians.
Yeah.
Look at all these Catholics.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that, bro. That makes no sense to me.
No, he's the pervert, nasty piece of shit. Yeah.
He's an individual. He doesn't represent, I don't care if he has a white collar or not. He doesn't represent Christianity.
Yeah.
And these assholes over there don't represent Islam, just like the Zionists don't represent Judaism.
Judaism, exactly. Thank you. And fuck, man, I'm glad you said that, because that's something that I'm trying to explain to people. I'm like, look, I don't hate the religion. I don't.
Right.
The biggest thing for me is I'm not a big follower of religion anymore, and it's just because there's so much tampering with it. It's just so corrupted, right? And there's so much bias in it now as well. But when we, for me, obviously, I'm a big believer in Jesus Christ, and I believe in my God, and it's how it is. And it was until recently that I actually realized that also the Quran acknowledges Jesus Christ,
right?
And
more than Prophet Muhammad,
correct. And do you know exactly how they classify him in the Quran, Jesus Christ?
Exactly how they classify Jesus Christ?
How they acknowledge him?
We call him a Rasul. We call him a messenger of God.
Yeah. And for somebody to sit here and say the Muslims hate Jesus Christ and stuff like that, I'm like, if you go talk to a legit Zionist, a legit person who claims they're Jewish and they're truly just Zionist, they won't even
Zionists.
They won't even. Yeah, exactly. They won't even say the word Jesus Christ.
Mm.
How many of these idiots have we seen on podcasts talking? They won't even say it. But yet I have Muslims agreeing with me about Jesus Christ, or not telling me to shut up when I'm talking about Jesus Christ. And that's my point here, is if you clearly hate Muslims, you dislike them, and you think they're these radical terrorists and whatever the hell that they've told you to believe now, I encourage you to go meet a real Muslim, a Muslim who lives in your community, because I promise you'll find one within a couple blocks.
Yeah, I mean, but that's just like for all of us. I think what you're saying, the bigger message is that we need to communicate and not just come to this conclusive perception of people or somebody.
Yeah.
We need to openly communicate. And when you do communicate, it's not to throw slurs at them and call them whatever names.
No.
But to
know who they are.
You want a exchange of knowledge. Okay. Well, tell me some things about Islam and I'll tell you some things about Christianity, right? Maybe we can find some common ground. But if you come at me and you say Prophet Muhammad this and he's a warlord and this and that, then like where does that get us, bro? You're talking to a wall.
Correct.
That's why I don't debate Zionists. You can't debate a Zionist.
No, you can't. And I had this issue the other day because I'm going to bring up something that really pissed me off because, like I said, I do read my book and I do follow it as much as I can. Am I perfect? Hell no, I'm not. I'm not perfect. And that's why I every day ask God for forgiveness. And I ask him to forgive me. And I ask him that one day when it's my time, that he accepts me into his kingdom, right? But I'm gonna explain something that really irritated me recently, and I have a lot of Christian friends, including a pastor, who justified these actions, and I don't agree with it. You're not gonna tell me you were a Red Cross doctor. There was no way that photo that I've seen people say he didn't even post it. AI did it. Like, he posted it from his Truth Social account.
Yeah.
You know, and he's literally not wearing a doctor's. I mean, I work in healthcare now. After all my stuff I've done in my life, I've switched over to healthcare. I've never seen a doctor dressed like that.
No, man.
You know what I mean?
And we already saw the original photo
in the background.
Yeah, the original photo is Jesus himself with angels in the background. His photo. How is that a nurse?
But what I'm getting at, Kawa, with that is, if we're going to sit here and critique Muslims and all these other people and yada yada and fake news, whatever, right? Why don't we critique that? Because God does not want us to mock him. In fact, that's a big no-no.
I mean, personally, I don't believe Trump is a Christian.
No, he's not. I mean, he's already said it.
I mean, he's already said, he's like, I love you Christians. You just vote one more time. And I promise next time you won't have to vote because it's going to be rigged. I love you Christians. I'm not Christian, but I love you Christians.
Yeah, I remember watching that video. I was like, what the hell?
Threw that in there?
And he openly admitted that his daughter converted to Judaism.
Jared Kushner is a Jew. Yeah. And a Zionist Jew, not even a nice Jew.
Yeah.
Right? But then you have Trump, who not only kissed the wall, wore the yarmulke, held a menorah lighting in the Oval Office, held another Jewish party where they were singing a bunch of songs in somewhere in I think the ballroom of the White House somewhere. Yeah. So there's the Israeli flag is draped all over the halls of Congress, right? And you have Israel, who no matter what kind of bad things they do, somehow they're always looked after by us. We defend them with our words. We deflect from what they're doing with saying they're allies, they're the promised land, they're the chosen people. Bro, we're literally just sitting here and making excuses for this country and this kind of Zionist movement. And Trump is, I don't think Trump's Christian, dude.
No.
I don't think he is.
You know, some of the things he says.
And if he was Christian, bro, let me caveat. If he was Christian,
he ain't a good one.
No, but why are you peddling your own Bible? Right?
Again,
you're monetizing now the word of God.
Another fucking mockery that is bullshit.
That's blasphemy, dude.
Yes, exactly.
Nobody takes the Quran and says this is Kawa's edition.
Yeah, Kawa's edition.
Bro, there'd be so many Muslims coming after me. You don't do that.
Oh, yeah,
you don't mock God. You don't put yourself in the AI rendition of you or Jesus trying to save somebody, and then your story constantly switches. Like, watching Trump feels like I'm watching a ping pong match. I can't keep track of this ball.
I had a really good friend, colleague that worked with me in my old hospital that I worked at, and she's a pretty cool girl. You know, it's really nice. Have her on Facebook, and she's definitely on the right side. Mm-hmm. Not a leftist. And when I posted that about him mocking and stuff, she actually called me out on my own thing. I didn't capitalize, God. I had it under, as a lowercase.
Oh, yeah. I always go back and capitalize God.
But. Yeah. And then I messed up. I was like, my bad. Hey, you got me though. Thanks for the accountability.
Yeah.
But she had told me, she's like, I don't don't think that what he did was right, but I also don't believe that, because there's been the mockery of like transsexuals and stuff, or like the gays and stuff like that, doing things and mocking Jesus Christ with like the pride flag and everything.
Right.
And she's like, I don't agree with that either. I would much prefer that than that. And I go, no, I get what you're saying, but for me personally, I wouldn't want either one of them. I don't believe that either one of them is right. No, not one of them is, because here's the other thing is, especially in the Holy Bible, there's no list that says which sin is more punishable than the other. You sin, right? And for some reason, some people think that certain things are more than others and stuff like that when you go by the 10 Commandments and everything. But what I'm getting at is, don't mock God. I don't care what God you think you're mocking or whatever you're doing. Don't do it. Don't do it at all. It just makes you look low IQ, like an idiot, right? You want to talk to people about low IQ, and then you pull that shit, and then you come out talking about the fake news and they ran away with it, and I wasn't doing that. I look like a doctor. I'm like, you just told somebody that they have low IQ, yet your fucking excuse could have been better. In fact, you know what would have been more trustworthy, and I would have been like, all right, good for him, coming out and saying, you know what? I meant it with good intent. I meant it as in like, I'm protecting my people, protecting my troops. I didn't mean it to mock Jesus Christ. I didn't want to do
just
that.
Say it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. I meant it with good. I apologize. That would have been easy. Even people that hate him been like, fucking, you made a mistake.
Yeah, at least he was honest.
Yeah,
I'll give him respect
about it. Yeah,
he fucked up. Yeah, and now he's admitting it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he fucking comes out with this shitty excuse, and I'm like,
I posted it. I didn't post it.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Yeah,
and that's what's pissing me off. But then you got people. He's the best president in the United States history. I'm like, it's questionable right now.
Best. I mean, I think he's like being nominated for worst.
Worst because of what's happening. Yeah, and I got people saying we had higher gas prices during Biden. And I'm like, really? I know we had some high prices during COVID for sure. But the way it is right now?
Well, like it's a lot with Trump, isn't it? It's not like he's just
one thing.
It's not just one thing, that he's posting. Okay, but it's just this trail of blunders that he won't admit to. He won't say it was a mistake. He still kind of like churches it up and says that was the greatest deal. We won. We destroyed their military. The Strait of Hormuz is open. Bold lies. There's uranium of shipment. Iran sending us a gift. It's a shipment of uranium. Oh, they're sending a bunch of oil. Iran said they're going to open the strait.
What that is, Kawa, is those are words to try to fluff up the market and make the market get comfortable.
Everything's a lie. But here's the thing. You can lie about all those things. But when you sit there and you insult God, right? In this case, you insult, from my perspective, a messenger of God who Muslims respect and honor and love. And we took offense to that too. Yeah. That's why that's why in Islam, you don't see renditions of the Prophet Muhammad or Moses or anybody, not Mary, not anybody, because in Islam, early on, we said that if we're truly a monotheistic religion and we're only worshiping God, then we have no business putting up a picture of somebody or putting up a statue of somebody, because that's how idol worshiping started, right? They didn't have enough faith to be like, yes, there's a God up there. They're like, let me build something. So every time I see it, it reminds me of God. And what happened over time? What was Abraham's story? He came in, he busted up all these idols, right? And he said, no, this is wrong. But this is modern day idolatry. This is modern day paganism. When you step over that line of insulting religion, in this case, two religions. Yep. Then
now you're dropping bars, man.
You are what we call the true definition of an infidel.
This episode of Calling Your Shot is brought to you by Berserker Built, a veteran-owned brand where artistry meets purpose. Founded by U.S. Navy veteran Timothy DeMeo, Berserker Built crafts custom skateboards and apparel inspired by Viking and Norse designs. But they're more than just a brand. They're on a mission to support mental health initiatives for veterans and first responders battling with PTSD, TBI, and much more. Each purchase contributes to this cause, turning functional art into a beacon of hope. Whether you're looking for a unique board or gear that stands for something greater, Berserker Built delivers quality with a conscience. Explore the collection and support the mission at berserkerbuilt.com. Again, berserkerbuilt.com. Berserker Built, crafted with purpose and driven by honor. This episode of Calling Your Shot is brought to you by Operation Path Forward, a nonprofit based in Montana, dedicated to supporting active duty military, veterans, and first responders. Founded by Navy veteran Timothy DeMeo and his wife Tabitha, Operation Path Forward provides curated care packages and is developing a wilderness retreat in Montana to offer holistic healing through nature, community, and specialized therapies. By partnering with veteran-owned businesses and like-minded organizations, they deliver morale-boosting resources and practical gear to those who have served. To support their mission or nominate a hero for a care package, visit operationpathforward.org. Again, operationpathforward.org. Operation Path Forward, because no hero should have to walk alone. Check them out, guys. Operation Path Forward.
Okay. That's the true definition of infidel. Someone who mocks God and insults God.
Exactly.
Or even insults messengers of God, depending on who you ask.
Exactly.
So it's that, man. Like, we don't have that problem in Islam, right? But I've seen a lot of videos coming from people who hate Islam where they depict Muhammad one way.
Correct.
Or like, remember what happened with Paris?
Yes, yeah.
So and now you have men who are corrupt that are really pushing the envelope and taking advantage of this idol worshiping, right? Building a statue for himself, that whole, whatever that monument thing is.
It's crazy.
Like there's no sign of God anywhere.
Doing, remember the Ark over in
the Ark?
He's doing the Ark de Trump. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Are you serious? I'm like, you're so fucking full of yourself, man.
He thinks he's above God. That's what Zionists believe. But also, he probably wants a third term, and he's trying to set himself up, and he has to get people on board.
Wild, man.
That's why he can't be honest with everything, because if he's honest, then people are going to be like, well, wait a minute, what else were you dishonest about?
Correct. And then his whole agenda goes to shit.
Right.
But Cal, I wanted to jump into something a little bit more that I believe. I mean, it's still in the same fucking topic, but it goes into some more recent events with some of our leadership who's in his cabinet, and where I truly believe that some of them did have the right heart and the right intention to begin with. And then as the pressure from a certain individual or certain individuals came down, they've changed. I truly do believe that Kash Patel had right interest in the very beginning. And I feel like that's why men are not stupid. You can see it in another man's eyes. The dude's going through it. He looks like shit, bro. He looks like...
As a Kash Patel sob story?
Yeah, people are like, he's fucking an alcoholic. I was like, he should be. Like, I mean, I'm sure he saw all those files, and he was so adamant about getting these people. And then now he's like, there's nothing there, Joe. Like, there's nothing there.
Yeah, in his mind, that's why his eyes are all beady-eyed every time. Because in his mind, he's like, literally everyone on this list is in this room.
And I can't do anything about it. And I got to see what they did to people. And I can't fix it.
And they got his ass too, bro.
They got him, bro.
This girl's a honeypot.
Yeah, dude. And you sit there and you look at that. And man, when Joe Kent did that the other day and he quit, that letter he put out, it spoke worlds, man. And the first thing that happens, and we talked about this in the beginning of this podcast, the first thing that happens after he says that, he still literally gives praise to Trump and gives Trump credit and says, I believe Trump can be the right guy to fix this. And I truly think that if Trump goes back to some of his old thoughts and ways, he probably can. But guess what? He's not going to do that. Joseph Kent literally said, I believe he can fix it if he doesn't follow these other ways or whatever it is that he said. I can't quote word for word. And they literally go mocking the dude. And literally within 48 hours, he's being investigated by the FBI for leaking classified information and all this stuff. But you're going to tell me that we have literally millions of fucking pages of the Epstein files, and not one person has been prosecuted. It's funny because we give shit to the UK, but they prosecuted somebody right off the bat off of those things. Did you see that? One of the dudes from the royal family, he got snagged up, man. Yeah, they snagged him up.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the UK is perfect. No, they got their own problems too. But what I'm saying is you're gonna. And this is where we're going to get back into what I was talking about, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and all these guys. You're looking at a person like Joseph Kent who has fought for a very long time, and not just some normal dude in the military doing admin work or anything. He was a Green Beret. I think he was with CAG for a while.
He was a Ranger first. He was a Green Beret. He was on You know, he was on the he was on the CIA's task forces.
Like that, yeah.
So the guy's been in intel his whole career.
Correct. And he was also in the depths of it.
And he wasn't just a Green Beret, he was an 18 Fox.
Yeah.
So they pushed him down the intel route early, and he stayed there. And he did work for the CIA. I mean, everything he's done has been keeping secrets.
Correct.
Right? So to say that this guy is a leaker and that the Tucker Carlson, of all people, is just another smear campaign.
Cool.
And then you hear what Trump says. He constantly brings up, well, and his wife died, and then he quickly remarried. Like, what does the quickly remarried have to do with anything?
That is fucked up, man. Like,
it's a smear campaign.
The dude, the way they've done that to him is bad, man. And it just reminds me of, like, for example, what happened to the Kennedys, right? But it sucks to see what they're doing to the guy, even though he has not said one bad thing about Trump.
No.
The only thing he did say is the truth. Is stop going. You know, he said something really important on Sean Ryan's podcast, and this is what I want to talk to you about. He said Donald Trump is taking a lot of military advice from people like Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, who we are, well, one, just to briefly touch on Ted Cruz, fuck that guy. That guy literally is not for this country at all.
No.
Hell, when we have natural disasters coming through, you find him on a fucking plane right off the bat. And I'm going to speak for majority of Texas. None of us fucking like him here anymore. We're tired of his ass.
Yeah, I never liked him. I mean, and he also came out and said his whole reason for joining Congress was to support Israel.
Yeah, and I love how fucking Tucker Carlson made him a fool, but then Tucker Carlson's apparently some radical right after.
Right.
I'm like, no, what happened is your boy got fucked up on camera.
Yeah.
And you got to basically say, like, oh, the guy used brass knuckles in this case.
Yeah.
Because he just fucking annihilated him. But that's the difference between somebody who's actually knowledgeable and somebody who has actually a decent IQ versus some other idiot who's just taking money from the right people to make decisions. But what I'm getting at with
this whole Bible verses wrong. He was getting all kinds of shit wrong.
Stupid, man.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at with this situation is when you talk about Tucker Carlson, or not Tucker Carlson, Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and everything, Joseph Kent said something very important. Donald Trump is taking military advice from individuals who have never served the military at one point.
Right.
Who are blind to the reality of war, right? They might know the political side of things, but they don't know the reality of war. And Joseph Kent literally said something very important, and you and I both can agree with this right now. If we let those boats loose and we let all those Marines get off on that island, what's going to happen to them? They're going to get fucking obliterated.
Bloodbath.
They're going to get obliterated. If they're able to knock a 35 out of the sky, I promise you they're going to knock that fucking island into another existence. And a shit ton of Marines are going to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you one thing right now, and I'm not going to mention the name, but I know somebody who's on a MEU in another part of the world, and the climate on there from yes, a lot of those grunts is like it's a 50-50. Some of them want to get off and fuck some shit up, but there's a lot of them that are like, we don't want to fucking fight this war.
Morale's low.
We don't. It's very low.
It's not just low for Americans here. Like, nobody wants this war. Not one person wants this war. Okay, but then you have now the military that's over there that also has low morale.
Yeah.
You got these guys stuck on ships for the last 6 weeks. Food supply is running low. Water sanitation is running low. And there's morale is low because not only do they not want this war, they don't want to be there, and they don't want to keep suffering for the wrong reasons. We can suffer for the right reasons very well.
Oh yeah,
we've been trained for that.
Fuck yeah, dude.
For the right cause,
we'll embrace the suck when we need to.
For the right cause, I'll embrace the suck as long as I have to. But not when it's
for this
war
cause.
Of choice.
Nah, man, no way. And you know, a family member of mine told me, like, well, yeah, but look at Lindsey Graham. He was a Marine.
The worst.
He was a Marine like you. I said, fuck Lindsey Graham.
Fuck Lindsey Graham.
Fuck Lindsey Graham. You know why? Don't sit there and say, oh, it'll be neat. It'll be like Iwo Jima all over again. Motherfucker, Marines died on that mountain.
A lot of Marines.
A lot of Marines died on
Iwo Jima. I climbed.
Yeah, a shit ton of Marines died on there. John Basilone, a lot of people died on that island.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's like you're fucking laughing, mocking, literally saying, oh, it'll be at Iwo Jima all over again. So you're okay with a bunch of fucking young Americans to go get slaughtered on that island?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like people underestimate it because we got comfortable with taking out Saddam. We got comfortable with fighting in Afghanistan. And like we got a lot of confidence from that. American people were like, wow, our military is so strong. They've been over there for 25 years. The people that are red on are like, bro, this fucked up from day one.
Yeah.
But The only reason we took Iraq so easily is because Saddam's army was in shambles by the time we got there. The Ba'ath Party was falling apart. His military were falling apart. People were going AWOL from his army before we even got there. When we got there, it was a shell of itself. Okay, Afghanistan, they didn't even have an army. We went in there, we were fighting an insurgency. We were fighting guerrilla forces, Taliban, Northern Alliance, right? It wasn't even a real military. Look how long it took us to do what we needed to do, which nobody even knows what we did. Then you look at Iran, who is 4 times the size of Afghanistan, 3 times the size of Iraq, and has 3 times the number at 90 million. 10 million in Tehran, another 8 million or so in Isfahan. Imagine us trying to take Tehran with ground forces. Okay, but wait, before you imagine that, people are like, well, Iran's military is not that big. Right, okay, let me just give you some context there. Iran has a military that's 500,000 strong, and that's just conventional forces. On top of that, they have another 130,000 IRGC forces. IRGC doesn't follow what conventional command says. They're their own entity.
Yeah.
On top of that, you have another 100,000 Quds forces, right? And here's the kicker. They have a 20 million men reserve military that are just waiting to be activated.
Well, and you also have neighboring insurgency that's
okay, but I'm just
to
saying organically.
Yeah.
Organically. They have 20 million men and women in reserve that are ready to be activated and fight and die for their country.
Yeah.
Now imagine how many Marines and personnel we need to take a city who possibly half of the population, or sorry, in this case, 1/4 of the population has decided to pick up arms and fight us back. Not only are we fighting a conventional military, we are fighting special operations for them. And the Quds forces have a pretty good resume around the Middle East. They've gotten into some pretty good firefights. Like, they're well respected within that community of people.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, you got 20 million. So not only are we fighting those guys, the military special operations, but now we may be fighting an insurgency force worth 20 million.
Yeah.
What if, even if 10% of those people activated, we're going to add 2 million more people? How many personnel would it take?
And I think, look, for the record, for the freaking camera, Kawa, I know both you and I right here do not support the Iranian regime. We fucking don't.
No.
I'm all for, fuck the regime. But here's the thing, like Joseph Kent said, this is not the way to go about it.
No.
This is not how you take the regime out. And on top of that, what's your fucking plan? You take out the regime and then what?
Well, let me clarify. I don't support the regime, but I don't not support the regime. No, because here's the thing. I'm not Iranian, and I don't live in Iran.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these LA Iranians, or I'm not one of these Texas Persians who's like, like, shut your ass up. You're here now. Like, you can say what you want, but don't away from it. But don't sit there and try to instigate and pour fuel in the fire. What do Iranian people want? Because they've been pretty vocal. There may be a small contingency of people that don't like the Ayatollah and the regime, and we saw what happened to those people. Yeah. A lot of them died. Why? Yeah. Because, well, we mainly sent weapons there. Trump admitted himself. We sent weapons to those people. They didn't fight, and now those people are in trouble, right? Yeah. So our failed coup...
We put them... Yeah, exactly.
So we did like a 1953 coup 2.0. We tried.
Yeah.
But it failed. It was a failed CIA Mossad coup, and so a lot of Iranian civilians died. Well, then they said, well, 40,000 people. The regime killed 40,000 people. When in reality, it was probably a few thousand, right? And so you got the Ayatollah, who a lot of people love, but who loves Trump in America? That's like saying, well, a lot of people love Trump in America.
Yeah.
Okay, then all of America must love Trump, right?
Yeah.
But if we say, well, the majority of people hate Trump, then other people in the UK could be like the same thing. Well, damn, Americans really hate their president. So who are we to say what Iranian people want?
No, I 100% agree. And when you go back to the history of Donald Trump's last presidency, he made a point to the Iranians. He took out one of their senior leaders, and he took what's his name? I forget his name. The commander.
Soleimani.
Yeah.
IRGC.
When he took out Soleimani, he put a message: stop fucking with our troops in the region. You'll get money, but don't fuck with my people. And they stopped.
Right.
And they did. And a lot of people don't realize, and they go back to, like, what, now he says, Obama and Biden and them were giving Iran a lot of money to leave us alone. They're scared of them. Dude, they weren't fucking bothering us when we were giving them money. We give everybody else money. We give Israel money. We give Israel money to go kill children in Palestine. And we can't give Iran money now to just leave us the fuck alone?
Can I like share a brief history of Iran and lead it up to today really quick?
Yeah.
I'll keep it short. Iran had a Shah in the early 1900s, and then up to the 1950s, the people elected their own leader. His name was Mossadegh. He was loved by his people, right? They were able to elect him. There was no like puppeteering.
Yeah.
So, but what Mossadegh wanted to do was nationalize oil for Iran, because before then, the Great Britain had an oil deal and they were sucking the oil out of Iran, and Iran was just like, not getting anything out of it. Mossadegh wanted to nationalize that. Well, once we realized that he wanted to nationalize that, we staged a coup in 1953 to kick him out, and we emplaced the Shah. Okay, so then we put the Shah in place. A year after the Shah took power, he let the oil deals flow. So forget the nationalization of oil. Whoever wants oil, yeah, we'll sell it to you,
yeah.
Right? At the same time, while he was getting rich for selling all this oil, and he was getting all his little rich elitist families rich, his people were suffering. Okay, they were suffering. They had no food, no jobs, no education, no way to even be a family. All of that was gone. For 26 years, this man ruled with an iron fist. He had his own secret police. He killed thousands upon tens of thousands of Iranians who resisted him. So after 26 years, it builds up, right? 26 years of oppression, because I always say oppression breeds resistance, right? 26 years of oppression in this case breeded a resistance that would then eventually become the 1979 Islamic Revolution, and then now you have an Ayatollah. So the pendulum swung so hard to one direction that when it came back, the people were so tired that it swung so far in the other direction, and now we have a very Islamic Iran instead of a modern Iran that Great Britain had with the Shah. The Shah was very modern. He supported Israel. Okay, and so then, but we staged that coup. Like, don't forget, Iranians don't forget this.
Yeah,
they haven't forgotten that we took out their beloved leader and staged a fucking fake king.
But we're perfect,
right? And then on top of that, as soon as Ayatollah took office, and one more thing, a fun fact: Iran's nuclear power program started because of the U.S. That was our deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
You give us oil, we'll let you have a nuclear reactor.
Yes,
their nuclear program, we stood that up. The same one we villainize, we stood that up. Okay, so again, it goes back to the storybook of how we lift people up and use them and abuse them and then take them down when we're done with them. But we stood that up. 26 years of oppression leads to an Islamic revolution of a little extreme sorts, I would say. The Ayatollah comes in. He not only severs himself from the U.S. and the West and Israel, but he has the embassy attack. There's the Beirut bombing. There's all these little pockets of attacks on Americans and Europeans because he saw for 26 years how his people suffered. Okay. Now, the bad thing is he's an extremist in the way he wants to kill people outside of his country, right? And yes, he's an extremist to maybe some of the people who protest in his country, but we've also killed protesters in this country. Don't forget. Okay. And so when you have an Ayatollah who hates America because how America robbed him for the last 26 years, robbed him as people, of course he's going to be extreme. That doesn't mean the Iranian people are extreme.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's pros and cons to every leader. Pros and cons. The cons with him, extremism. The pros is that since 1979, Iran has a higher literacy rate than America. There are more educated people in Iran, more MDs, more PhDs, more master's degrees, more scientists, engineers. This is a civilization that's been around for thousands of years, and they have somehow held it together and still stayed a nation, right? You think they're not going to figure out how to get through some extremist Ayatollah or some fucking fake-ass king? Yeah, they're going to get through it, bro, and they're going to be fine. But when we use one man to villainize the entire country, that doesn't work. It goes back to it seeps back into the Islamophobia campaign.
Well, you talk about how we set people up, we help them out, we bring them in. It happened again recently, and it happened. We wanted to use them to help us against Iran, and I'm sure you're about to know who I'm talking about. We used them in Iraq. They helped us so much, and then we villainized them right after, and that's the Kurds. They fucking helped us so much, man. And then all of a sudden...
before we villainized them, we left them high and dry.
We let them get fucking slaughtered. We let them get slaughtered, man. We were originally, advising and helping them, and then we pulled out and let them get fucked up. And then recently we try to offer them money and weapons to go fight in Iran.
We try to get them to do it again.
Fuck, dude.
You're like, hey, sorry about last time, just leaving you hanging dry and all your people dying. But this time we'll be good.
I brought that up in a conversation the other day, and they're like, show us proof. I was like, the president literally said it. Yeah. He's trying to use them to go out there. Like that, but again, we still believe our government is completely 100% honest and good. I'm like, bro, when you got the IRS taking your money, that should question everything right there too, right? But look, I'm not saying I'm this crazy anti-government, dude.
I'm not crazy, but I am anti-government.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying I'm not like this crazy dude where I'm like sitting in my freaking, house with my gun waiting for the door and like when the FBI. No, I'm not fucking trying to start shit either. But I don't fucking trust those fuckers. No, and I don't,
And you wouldn't even have to make this statement if they could just give us 50% effort, right?
Yeah.
Give us 50% honesty. Give us 50% transparency.
Give us a little bit of what we asked for or what you told us you were.
And so that's why you have to make this statement today.
Exactly.
Because of their conduct, not you. This is not about you. This is about their conduct and how you are reacting to it.
Exactly.
Right? So this is like a toxic relationship we have with our government.
Exactly.
And they constantly lie to us. Yeah. They're trying to secretly kill us.
Yeah.
They look out, they put money in other places, and not the American people. This is a super toxic relationship we're in, bro.
Super toxic.
How do we fucking break up?
Yeah,
exactly. How do we get out of this?
Yeah, it's the same way in a relationship, like a legit relationship.
Yeah.
You stop feeding the people, or you stop feeding your wife or your husband, whatever the hell you're feeding. You stop being honest with them. You start being sketchy and all these things. What do they want? They want out. And it's the same concept
Constantly
right now.
cheating on us with Israel. Like, bro, it's just like, how do we get rid of this? And that's kind of like the question I get all the time is, Kawa, how do we fix this? And I was like, dude, anybody who has that answer is going to be rich one day.
Yes.
Could be rich.
But
it's also not like one answer, right? Because I said they're attacking us in every vertical of society. So there has to be multiple answers.
Yeah, there's not an easy fix to it for sure.
For like politics, I would give like an analogy for politics and see what your thoughts are. We identify young politicians at an early age and we get them to commit to not taking foreign money from foreign lobbies, not taking money from corporations who represent foreign countries, right? And then we say, we get them to commit to saying, yes, I'm America first. No, I am anti-Zionist. I'm anti-AIPAC, anti-foreign lobby money. And I will put America first. And in this little level of mine, in this city or wherever I'm at, I will put this city first, like Mamdani, right? He's a good example of that. Then you take him to the next level. He's a governor. Maybe he's a congressman. Maybe he's vice president. We hold these kids, or at one point they'll be kids, but we hold these people, these adults, to the same standard that we held them to when they were young politicians. And we say, remember, you were America first when I first started supporting you. Because the repercussions of now saying all of a sudden taking AIPAC money and being corrupted by corporations is we, your constituents, will make sure that you lose your job. You're not going to get elected next time.
What's like Massey?
Instead of so here's the thing. Yeah. We take power back from AIPAC. Right now, AIPAC is the one that says that.
Correct.
You take that money, you give us unconditional support, or we end your career.
Yep.
We as a people say, look, you put America first, you say it, you do it, and if you ever renege on that, take foreign lobby money,
we need to get lobbyists out of DC.
We need to be AIPAC.
Yeah.
Right?
But you know who said that actually, which was really good, and I don't know how true he was with it, but he said all these things, was Vivek Ramaswamy. He was talking about how, one, we need to get rid of the FBI for some time until they can figure their shit out. Because, you got one field office versus the other and investigating this. We've seen it, fucked, right? Man. Yeah, that agency's fucked.
DOJ is fucked.
Yeah, they're fucked. Yeah. And you have that he talked about getting rid of. And then he also said getting rid of lobbyists. Like, we need to get rid of lobbyists from DC. He's like, there's too many people influencing our politicians.
Yeah, dude.
And what we do.
Yeah.
Then you got guys like Massey, who's out there freaking literally calling it like it is, but he's a crazy guy, blah, blah. He's not even a Republican. He should actually be a freaking liberal. And I'm like,
we're going to primary him.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck?
This guy's, he's
calling it like it is.
Joe Kent.
And he's coming out.
Traitor.
Yeah, he's coming out literally saying, I've taken $0 from the AIPAC, baby. I am taking shit.
Yeah.
And then that's the problem with this country. And I'm going to go to one more thing because people have
that's the war cry amongst young politicians these days. The war cry is, I don't support Israel. I don't take AIPAC money. I never will.
Yep.
I mean, they're outright saying it now, dude. I mean, that's pretty ballsy.
No, yeah.
You're about to go into an arena who's filled with these people.
Yeah, and you know, it is pretty ballsy, man, and you know, it's crazy. But you know, one thing that I wanted to point out is, again, like I said, I don't support the Iranian regime. Me personally, I don't like them.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I'm still not fully. I'm not saying, oh, I'm all of a sudden I support Iran's regime. Like, no. What I'm saying right now.
Do you support Iraq's new leadership? Do you support the Taliban in Afghanistan?
No, I don't. And you know what I'm saying is,
well, we work with the Taliban. You don't support the Taliban, or you support the. You don't support the Taliban.
No, the current leadership that we have in the Taliban and how they're doing things and how we're paying them money, I don't support that, and I don't support our government for doing that either. Mm-hmm. You know, but what I'm saying is, this is about to trip some people out. But what I'm saying is, why the fuck are we worried about these guys enriching themselves with uranium and working on a nuclear missile, right? When, mind you, there's other countries like North Korea who have nukes, right? Well, you don't see us going after them.
Israel has nukes. Yeah. They're not supposed to have nukes yet.
But that's what I'm getting at, Kawa.
Oh,
okay, how come
I don't want to steal your thought.
Yeah. No, I'm pissed about this one. How come I got to go after these motherfuckers, but the other dudes right across the street, we don't even know how many nukes they have. Not to mention, they're the only country that does not have to follow the rules when it comes to nuclear power. And the last human being who tried to stop that was obliterated a few months later, and that's John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And then right after that, his family was destroyed. And I want you guys to look it up. It's called Operation Mockingbird. Look at that. Look those things up. Dang. You can call me a fucking tin hat dude and anything, but look up Operation Mockingbird and ask me if the Kennedy family was dealt the right set of cards.
Yeah.
They were just like another Joe Kent. You do something against them, all of a sudden now you're a piece of shit. You remarried after your wife died, all these things. His wife died, guess what? Serving you guys out there in another country, serving our nation, thinking she was doing the right thing out there, and she died. So you know what? It's personal for that guy. You know why? Because he doesn't want to see more people like his wife die.
Right. Yeah, his wife was killed. For you guys that don't know, his wife was killed in Syria with an IED, a roadside bomb. That's how she died. And actually, he waited 5 years until he got married again. I don't think that's marrying quickly at all. No. 5 years? Come on.
And that's a fucked up thing to say to somebody. Even if I thought you married quickly, I've had friends where I believe they married a little too quick, but I'm not out there fucking scrutinizing them for them. That's not my job. It's not my job.
We just have to accept that this is a smear campaign. He will smear anybody who's not on board with the Trump wagon.
No, of course.
He will smear them. He may support you 1 week, but man, you go against Trump, you go against Israel, that's it. They're coming after you.
Yeah.
Right? No, you're a leaker. You're this. You're a traitor. You know, like Thomas Massey, he's not America first. He's this and that. Like, okay, I don't know any other political candidate that's more America first than Thomas Massey. Name one. Right? And you got like Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? She had enough balls, but at the same time, I think she shouldn't have quit. But she was like, I'm leaving, bro. Like, this is way too corrupt for me.
Yep.
And as soon as she left, she was able to speak the truth, and as they demonized her. Same
thing with what's
well, here's the thing. You can be controlled opposition. They're okay with that.
Correct.
Right? We can sit here and say, well, I think what Israel's doing is, needs to be looked at for international war crimes, and maybe that's too abrasive. Right?
Yeah.
Because what they're saying is they're watering it down even more.
Yeah.
So, but that's okay. That kind of controlled opposition is okay. But when you go too hard against the grain, as in JFK, as in Charlie Kirk, right? Then you're a problem to them. Again, they can't control you. They can't bribe you. They can't, they can't do anything else for you. You're the president. So it's either you play their game or they need you out of the picture.
Yeah. No, it's
because look what happened after JFK. Who became president after JFK? What's his name? I'm forgetting too. Tall guy.
Yeah. Why am I? I'm
blanking out.
Yeah, I'm blanking out right now. But yes.
But he did everything that Israel wanted. Yeah. Like months after the assassination. Of JFK, he got the ball rolling.
Well, it changed, and that's when you can bluntly see that our government was.
I tell people, big picture, that's the day that our government was officially taken over by Zionists.
Yeah.
Was the day JFK died. Because before then, they had a strong presence, like the Zionist Congress of the early 1900s, 1919, leading up, changing their name to AIPAC later. You know, you had that presence, but you never had a complete takeover until right after JFK died.
Oh, when you go start seeing the whole thing of like Lee Harvey Oswald and stuff like that, you're like, get the fuck out of here with that shit,
Patsies,
man.
bro.
You know what I mean? And it's frustrating, and you know, it's,
Tyler Robinson.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's like it's there for you to see, and still people
it's like people need to hear somebody own up to it or something, you know?
Maybe. I mean, but like, even then, we literally just saw the fucking Epstein files, and people are still like, well, no. I'm like, no, look, this is what I believe, all right? This is in my heart. One, God's children are not for fucking sale, and God's children are not to be raped and brutalized and murdered and used for rituals. Look, we can go, and this might be a conspiracy here, right? But we can go back to some history of even people in Hollywood, because remember, who does Hollywood own by?
It's owned by the Jews.
Yeah, and when you look at people like Chester Benningfield, Chris Cornell,
doing that documentary,
yes. And then all of a sudden, Chris Cornell, who literally was an advocate for anti-suicide because he was at one point that way, all of a sudden one morning, the morning he released his new album, literally pointing out suicide and also bringing awareness to it, all of a sudden he decides to leave his house and just go kill himself.
To suicide himself?
On a big day?
Yeah.
Doesn't make fucking sense to me, man.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got now.
But when you dig deeper, it's like, well, what was he involved in?
Yeah.
Well, they were filming a documentary about human sex trafficking, especially children.
You know who also at one point was actually looking into that, and remember they tried to brutalize like his name really bad, was actually Shia LaBeouf. Because he apparently said something that he saw during a gathering in Hollywood. And this has happened to a lot of people, in that. Look at Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg has been vocal about it. Now you don't see Mark fucking doing the good old Mark Wahlberg things again and playing big scenes again. He's still in Hollywood.
And he's producing.
Yeah. And what he's doing now is, he's pushing out the Bible app that he has and stuff like that. And, he's called it like it is.
That's what it is, man. Yeah. That's what it is. You know, it's sad because you kind of have to play the game. Like if you're in politics, I feel like you kind of have to say certain things to
speaking of that, Kawa, I don't want to interrupt you. I watched an episode of Sean Ryan's with, and I like that he speaks to everybody. I really wish he would have spoke to you. But
he won't respond to me.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he hasn't gotten to me, but
he liked our last podcast. Remember, he did like it. Remember, I screenshot it. I was like, he liked it. So, he spoke with Gavin Newsom, which do I like Gavin Newsom? No, I don't think he's also, he plays the game too, man.
I can't like Gavin Newsom.
No, exactly. But you know what he said? He said something very important that actually stood out to me on that podcast. He said, come on, Sean, let's cut the bull crap. Once you get into this game, he's like, you got to sell your soul to the devil. He basically literally said, we're all fucked in this game. We're all just as bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I respect that answer right there, because that's probably the most truthful shit I've heard come out of his mouth.
Especially him, the same guy who's responsible for tens of thousands of people dying during COVID.
And they all have one thing in common.
Hundreds of businesses going under during COVID is because of him. Don't forget, this man is solely directly responsible for the deaths of Americans.
Oh yeah,
and the closure of businesses and people losing their jobs. The same Gavin Newsom. So I can be nuanced and say that's a good point. That's real. I like that. I support that.
Oh, he's fucking full of shit.
But at the same time, the guy's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, but that for me, that's why that statement right there meant something to me, because I was like, wow, you said that? Like you just literally admitted that you all are a bunch of pieces of shit. What I like to tell people too is, when you look at the left and the right and how these guys are up in the Capitol Hill fighting each other and everything, what do you think they fucking do after work, man? They're at the same bar having a drink together.
Same
circles.
What I mean?
Yeah, they're the same circle. And they're, I know people that work up in DC, and they'll tell you this. They'll be honest with you. And it's disgusting, because here we are fighting. You can be a Republican, me be a Democrat. We're fighting with each other. Meanwhile, they're over there like, look at this fucking dumb shit that we're doing. They're fighting with the government. They're we have TSA closures and stuff like that now because we're fighting over funding, this, that, the other. Nobody can have middle fucking ground. And at the end of the day, when you look at it all, both the left and the right have one thing in common, and they're taking money from the exact same organization, and that's the AIPAC. And at the end of the day, I don't care what you say, oh, well, the Republicans believe this and the Democrats believe that. No, they all both believe one thing, and that's to support Israel, and that's to just bend right the fuck over for Israel.
Yeah. And it's
because Biden did it.
Yeah.
Clinton did it.
You're right.
All of them did it. Bush, exactly.
Obama.
All of them.
All of them.
They've all done it.
And Trump, don't forget, Trump took $230 million from Mary Madelson. Don't forget that Trump also took another $100 million from, I think, Pfizer or one of those companies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even just, for example, peptides right now. Peptides are fucking phenomenal, man. These peptides are doing, I mean, and I get it. There's a lot of underground pharmacies doing some fucked up peptides and shit.
Right.
Totally understandable. But who's the big fight right now against peptides? FDA and literally Big Pharma.
Right.
Because why? It's literally causing, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I'm on peptides now. I'm sure you can now notice the difference. I was fucking huge, last year. I was overweight. I was fucking pre-diabetic. I was unhealthy, and I took peptides to get myself back on track. I go to the gym. I'm eating a lot better now. But my health is really good. I've been doing my checkups. My blood levels are great. Shit, my migraines have gone down, and I was always having migraines, and the VA was just giving me fucking medication to zonk myself out for, all the inflammation in my head, saying there's nothing we can do about it. And I'm not saying that they were doing anything. I shouldn't say that they weren't doing anything wrong, because I work in healthcare and I get it. But what I'm saying is, when an organization like the FDA and Big Pharma are going after peptides, what does that go to show you? Because I like when people are like, well, the FDA is who approves these drugs and makes sure they're good. The FDA also approved the COVID vaccination. And ever since the COVID vaccination, I work in cardiology. We do a lot of cardiology stuff now. We put people on what's called ECMO. Very, very high level of life support. I mean, if you're the ventilator's not working for you, your heart's not pumping, our machine's coming in and basically giving you a second chance at life until we can figure out what the fuck's wrong with you.
That's cool.
I'm going to tell you one thing right now. Most people that are coming in now, we've never used to see people in their 40s, in their 30s coming in with cardiac problems. Cardiomyopathy is like through the roof. Myocarditis is huge right now.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it in children now too.
Young people.
We're seeing it in children where this was not even a thing unless they were congenital kids that had problems before and everything. We're seeing it in that. And then when you look at it, all of them have one thing in common. They're vaccinated ×4, ×3, whatever it is. And of course, people are like, oh, you're just saying anti-jab. Look, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. It's just like the influenza vaccine. Does it work every single year? No, it's a gamble. They're hoping that it's the strain that comes out that day. Exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, COVID was a man-made drug. It was put out there, and now it's completely mutated, just like the influenza did. First 2 years of the influenza were deadly as hell as well. Same thing with COVID. Now it's out there letting its course rip. I've had COVID, I don't even know how many fucking times. Yeah. In fact, even in the hospital now, they're like, well, you have COVID, just wear a mask, because it's not what it used to be. Right. And I get it. It killed a lot of people, and it still will continue to kill people, just like influenza, the measles, all these things will continue to do. But when we start pumping these children and young individuals who still have strong I get if you're immunocompromised, it's a little different. Mm-hmm. You might need these supports. But when you start taking an mRNA vaccine, man, I saw the other day some doctors talking about how the COVID vaccine is going to save you from post-COVID, the long haul COVID symptoms, all this bullshit. And they're just going off on it. And I'm like, man, I know doctors right now that have so much street cred that are the top level surgeons and stuff that would probably slap you in your fucking face for what you're saying, because you literally sound like you got paid a lot of money to say that.
Right.
And of course people have asked me, well, what do you know about COVID? Well, I'm going to tell you something. When COVID first hit, my background was originally, after I got out of law enforcement and contracting and stuff, my background turned into what's called a respiratory therapist. So I was managing ventilators during COVID. So I was literally right fucking there seeing the sickest of the sickest
firsthand.
And then now I do what's called ECMO, and we were doing it during COVID as well. I saw the people that truly did get COVID that were, really fucked up. I did see that. And it was fucked up to see that. And what was even more fucked up with all this, segregation that we caused our people and didn't allow people to move around more than 6 feet, this, that, the other. Do you know how many people died during COVID without their loved ones at their bedside? Do you know how many people I held hands? Many of my colleagues in the hospital systems held hands and actually had to hold these people's hands on their last seconds of life because their family wasn't there, because for some reason, if their family came in, they're going to give them COVID, which they already got COVID. They're pretty much dead. They're just on a machine. because of this stupid ass rule. But meanwhile, you got people like Michelle Lujan Grisham from New Mexico, the governor, Gavin Newsom, all these governors having fucking private parties without masks and stuff like that. But you can't go see your mother or your father die in the hospital. Exactly,
all the
bro.
other vineyards in California shut down. Martha's Vineyard's open.
And you
the
want me to believe the
celebrities that pushed it all in the beginning.
Yeah.
There's a whole campaign.
Yeah.
Bro. They had so many people. They had doctors coming out saying, take the jab. Celebrities, The Rock, John Cena, like all these people coming out saying, take the jab, it's safe. It was like just theatrics.
Yeah.
And now people are seeing the secondary, tertiary effects of taking these jabs and young kids. And it's bad. It's really bad. But they've taken control of mRNA and they weaponized it. And they want to do the same thing with peptides. That's why they're coming after it so hard, because they don't own it, right? Mm-hmm. Once they own it and they patent it and they tweak it the way they want to, then they'll promote it. They'll be like, look at this, just like Trump RX, right? The Walgreens is not good enough. The CVS prices are, come to Trump RX. We do it better.
That's fucking so stupid.
But you know what? People have gone on Trump RX already and subscribed to it, and they're paying a lot more on Trump RX than they are in other places.
Well, you look at
it's
peptides.
The monopolization of these things.
There's a peptide that's out there that the FDA has approved, and it's commonly used, which is semaglutide, Wegovy. It's a GLP-1.
Right.
When you look at GLP-1s versus GLP-3s and stuff like, for example, Retta, right? You start to look at the side effects that these peptides are giving. And semaglutide is actually a fucking terrible peptide. People are losing hair. People are having emotional breakdowns.
Yeah.
All these things.
People are going blind from these GLPs.
Yes. And then now you look at, for example, like Retta, and people are like, literally like saying, dude, you look younger too. I'm like, I haven't, what's your side effects? Oh, well, the injection site, a little itching or whatever, right. You're fucking hitting yourself like a dartboard, but at the same time,
is it like a small insulin needle?
Yeah, it's a small insulin needle. But then you got, for example, semaglutide, which, part of it was used for fighting diabetes and stuff like that, which we all know diabetes can be reversed. It can be fixed.
Well, apparently China cured it.
Yeah, it's a metabolic issue that you can fix. I mean, it's not like when people sit here and say like, oh, diabetes is so terrible. Like, it is terrible if it's not managed correctly. But guess what? They're going to give you the very, very minimum to manage it so that eventually you can wash out. It's the same thing with mental health, right? You come to me right now, I'm a mental health doctor, and you start telling me, I feel this, I feel that. Here, bud, take these.
Right.
The moment you stop taking those, your mental health is probably going to be worse than when you even started taking those things. Because guess what? And that's why I really that's the only fucking thing I actually was happy about the other day is that he signed that bill to try to start getting psychedelics, especially in the VA and stuff like that.
Because Joe Rogan said so?
Yeah, because Joe Rogan said so. But I was like, you know what? That's the first time you fucking listened to the right thing, because I truly believe that the psychedelics are a better alternative than, benzos and stuff like that. And there's a lot of question about that, especially when you start getting into religion.
We believe that. We believe about the science of this.
Yeah.
But they just look at dollar signs.
Oh, of course. Because now here's the thing. I can probably go get Ibogaine treatment in another country right now for a certain price. Once it starts coming here to the United States, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Thousands.
It's the same thing with marijuana, right? Marijuana used to be, you're smoking the natural shit that they used to sell back in the day. And then all of a sudden they legalized it, and you start seeing crazy results from marijuana use. People acting fucking weird and shit. And then all of a sudden, what does the cartel start doing? Well, fuck, we don't make money off weed and coke anymore. They start pumping fentanyl and heroin into our country. Oh, but that's the Chinese. No, the Chinese just selling them the precursors. They're the ones over there making the fentanyl.
Yeah.
No, but the Chinese are giving us fentanyl. I'm like, no, they're giving them the precursors. You're paying for it. You're paying for it.
Yeah.
And the cartel says it's embarrassing. They're like, well, as long as Americans are still hooked, we're gonna keep making our shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a business to them,
Well, we go and me and you both
can't control the cartels, but we can control our people and how they.
But we
we deal with the cartel.
You and I voted for this, I'm sure, Kawa, where we said we need to secure the border, we need to stop the drugs flowing through the border and everything, and everybody now is like, look at the border, it's secure, there's no drugs coming through it. Guess what? Go north, go to Canada, see what's going on in Canada right now.
Well, but our border is not even secure. Our southern border is not even secure.
Exactly, but there's that journalist. I'm having a brain fart with her name right now. Vincent Rocco had her on his podcast not too long back. She's embedded with the cartel. She's getting deep into Mexico. She's badass, man. I believe she's like Canadian, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And she's all over the place. And she interviewed somebody, especially in Canada. And the Canadian police are overwhelmed. They don't have enough people to search certain things. They don't have enough people to combat these issues. And now you have literally Mexican cartel in Canada. You have Mexican cartel in the UK. You have Mexican cartel worldwide. And then the other trippy part about it is Canadian customs is so backlogged that for every 100 ships, they're only searching one. Where do you think these Chinese precursors are coming through now? The easy route. It's the same thing. Remember, cocaine used to be coming right through Miami, the port of Miami. It's coming from Colombia right into the port of Miami. Then that got figured out. They stopped doing that. You think that just because you're stopping them in the border of Texas, that they're not gonna they're done?
Yeah.
Shit, you and I have been in California. We've been stationed there. We've lived there. Yeah, man, fuck out of here with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. You can't stop it by just like, okay, you know, like we got this cartel and Miami's like closed off now. Like they always figure out a different way.
There's always
the same way a criminal can find a gun on a street, right? And gun control is bullshit. Is the same way that cartel will always be able to find a way.
It shouldn't be called gun control. It should be people control.
Yeah, they're gonna find a way to get their shit in here, and you know, there's nothing we can do about it. But there's also people that pay the price.
Yep. No, it's true, man. I feel like today was good because I really wanted to finally like just unleash on it. I kind of feel like today's conversation.
I'm your therapy.
I know, dude. It was. Yeah, you actually kind of were, dude. I'm not gonna lie. When I messaged, I was like, "Fuck, I need to get Kawa on," because when I first interviewed you, man, I'm gonna be honest. I was like, "Fuck, man, I was seeing some crazy shit, man." Like, you know, but I did what you told me to do, and you told everybody else to do is research, look into these things, and I love to see. It's so funny because everybody now will talk shit about the veterans who are out there saying things. And mind you, some of these veterans are some fucking stacked dudes, man. Some dudes that have done some big shit for the government and have worked. I mean, look at Sean Ryan. Look, in the beginning, Sean Ryan was like a little cautious on what he talked about and everything. And look at him now. He's fucking pissed, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he woke up and I mean, I don't know if he necessarily woke up. He might have been awakened already. He just wasn't, you know, publicly coming out. And I get it. He was building his platform.
He maybe feels empowered by everybody else who's speaking up, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, well, yeah. And that's how it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
If we speak the truth, it empowers everybody to speak the truth.
No, 100%, man. And we're not always going to be right? I get it. But dude, the fucking cards are right in front of you, man. Like they're right in front of us. And the fact that some people are just like, yeah, I don't even think that it's they don't believe. They're just afraid of the conflict, so they rather turn their head.
Yeah, it goes back to like the early days of October 7th when people were like, man, do I support Palestine? Do I not support Palestine? Because it's Hamas, you know? And as time went on and more stuff came out, the more they got educated and everything, they realized that, yeah, I am going to support Palestine because that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Now, it took the kind of conservative talking head figures like the Charlie Kirks and the Tucker Carlsons, it took them a while to come around to it. It took them a while.
They came around and then...
Yeah, it took them a while to understand like, okay, wait a minute, not all is as it seems. There's something deeper and darker happening here. But because that they started talking about it, I mean, the fact that Charlie Kirk in his last 3-4 months started questioning and calling this out the way he saw it did a huge impact on the conservative youth movement.
Hey, and then get this bullshit. Right after he dies, not even 72 hours later, you have Bibi coming out talking about Charlie Kirk was a big supporter of Israel.
No, minutes.
Yeah. He was literally like,
3 minutes, in fact.
Yeah, we supported Charlie Kirk. We you know, deeply gonna miss it. I'm like, damn, motherfucker. Like, how do you not fucking like, at least, what do they always say? The murder always shows back up to the scene.
This episode of Calling Your Shot is brought to you by Team Room Tactical. Proudly based in Scottsdale, Arizona, founded by a U.S. Army Green Beret, Team Room Tactical brings the grit and precision of real-world experience to the firearm community. Whether you're shopping for high-end rifles, custom Glocks, or one-of-a-kind Cerakote or laser engraving work, Team Room Tactical is where craftsmanship meets combat readiness. They're not just another gun shop. They're a tribute to the brotherhood built by those who walk the walk. Their mission is simple: deliver top-tier gear and custom builds to those who demand excellence. Check them out in person at 2334 North Scottsdale Road or online at teamroomtactical.com. Support veteran-owned, support the community, and most of all, support the mission. Team Room Tactical.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, bro, can you at least give it a week? or something. Like, son of a bitch.
I mean, it's just they're so like, they believe this. This is stuff that they believe. They've been part of the system for so long. I mean, Netanyahu grew up in it. Trump grew up in it. All these elites grew up in it, and that's all they know. It's all they know. It goes back to those 1950s experiments where they were putting milk in front of kids and telling them it was water.
Yeah.
They did that for like 16 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And at the end of those 16 weeks, those kids thought that milk was actually water. You couldn't convince them that it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can Google that stuff, but it's the same thing. If I feed this to you as a child, that you are God's chosen people and you get to kill whoever you want that's in your way because these are your lands, and don't let anybody get in your way of taking your land back. And by the way, these Arabs, they're all terrorists and they want to kill you, so you have to kill them first. Dude, if I told you that from childhood up to adulthood and then you join the military, you are already programmed to act this way.
Well, it's
right?
It's
the same thing for Trump. Trump grew up in this elite system where he was able to avoid military service 5 times, apparently, right? And now, but he grew up in this very way where he feels like he's entitled and he can say whatever he wants and he's not going to get in trouble, because when has Trump ever gotten in trouble as a child? Probably never, right? And so, and also as a businessman, nobody said no to this man. He's been indoctrinated by the system. They're all the same way, bro.
No, 100%, man.
And the programming works the same.
Exactly. And it's gross, and I don't know.
Yeah,
like
fuck
I said,
maybe.
I don't know how the fix of it is going to be, and it's
Trump's done, bro. He's cooked.
He's cooked. So cooked, man. And I like how every now and then he'll try to throw a bone. Like the other day, Israel will not, he gets mad at him. Because look, I genuinely believe that in his mind too, he knows that it's fucked up. Because do you remember when the first time around when we apparently ruined their nuclear system for, I think, for ages, for 20 plus years?
Oh,
that was the first time. Yeah.
When we sent the
in the beginning.
B-52s.
What was it? Yeah, what was it? Operation
or
Night.
The B-2 bombers?
Yeah, it was like Night something or whatever.
Hammer Strike or some shit.
Something like that.
We sent them back for 30 years.
Yeah, but apparently it was only 5 months. You know what I mean? Fuck.
No, it was weeks later.
Weeks later. Yeah, exactly. But do you remember Trump literally when I forgot what Israel did that time? Well, I'm sure I can guess it, right? What happened was there was a fucking ceasefire agreement, and all of a sudden Israel decided to go fucking drop bombs again, like they keep doing even in Lebanon. But he literally, you remember, he cussed on TV. He was pissed because he was like, I genuinely believe he is like, you motherfuckers. But unfortunately, Bibi comes back around and says, no, bitch, you work for me. You belong to me.
I mean, is it a coincidence or not that Bibi's visited Trump 7 times or whatever?
Right before big shit happens, too.
Or no, it's been 5 times he's come to America or something like that. He gets a standing ovation every time.
Do you remember?
Trump scoots his chair in for him.
I don't know how and then you got fucking Argentinian fucking president over there crying like a little bitch, and Bibi, my fucking friend, whatever.
Javier Milei.
Yeah,
bro, I seriously think those two were related. Now that's a rabbit hole that you need to go down. That's your next rabbit hole.
Yeah,
go see it, how Javier Milei and how Benjamin Milikowski are related and possibly cousins.
I've gone down some of these rabbit holes, and for example, when you look at World War II, the post-Nazi era, when things were falling apart for the Nazis and stuff like that, where was one of the biggest escape routes? Argentina, exactly.
I've been to Argentina recently, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
There's a huge kind of Nazi-esque presence there.
Yeah.
I saw Nazi flags.
Yeah, and when you look at there's a lot of, for example, when you look at some of the Argentinian last names, they're very Italian, some of them, and some of them are almost German, like Griezmann and stuff like that. They have a lot of those guys over in Argentina.
Yeah.
And a lot of Italian last names, and people are like, well, what the fuck do the Italians have to do? Oh, Mussolini and his boys, you know what I mean? And this was a safe route for these guys at the end, almost like somebody said, this is where you go now. Right? This is where you go, and this is where you'll be protected for the longest time. And
well, because don't forget that Argentina was one of the choices for a diaspora of Jewish people to go to before Palestine was even a thing.
That's what I was getting at. It was, you know what I mean?
Stealing your thunder, bro.
Yeah, no,
we're finishing each other's sentences.
No, but it's good now, because before I feel like I was like, damn, bro, you're tripping me out. And then now I'm like, I'm reading into these things, and the more I see, look at for example, not too long ago in Patagonia, man, the fires. And then there was 2 dudes that, you know, the Argentinian government determined they were Israelis. They were actually IDF guys in the past.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah, and they burned it down, and people are like, well, you know, that doesn't mean anything. What do you mean it doesn't mean anything?
They try to portray them as Muslims.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden that land is going to go, oh, it's like that other dude, the guy that, it was that shooting not too long ago where they killed both of them.
In Australia?
Yes.
The father-son team?
Yeah, and that dude was running that gun, and father and son, and it ended up turning out that he had like ties to the IDF and all that shit like that, and I was like...
And who was the guy that stopped the gunman?
Yeah.
A Muslim,
yeah. Which I was like, bro, I mean... hire the right dude for the job at least, man. And then you got this, like the dude in Austin, man, that one seemed really fucking weird too. Like, I'm going to be honest with you right now. If I was a legit Muslim and I was planning to kill all these people, I'm not going to pull up with a t-shirt like that. I'm not going to...
Quran in the car.
Dude, what the fuck, man? Like,
I love Islam.
Yeah, like, seriously?
First of all, I love Islam, like stuff like that, or I love Allah, I think it said.
Yeah.
First of all, putting Allah in our clothing is not something. It's haram. We're not allowed to.
That's funny because I've talked to many Muslims and they're like, "Bro, that's frowned upon."
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, wow, man. But I mean, again, people will eat it right up. They're like, "Well, so what about the victims?" I'm not saying the victims. There's a person that should be held accountable for the victims, and I don't think it's the people that you're thinking it is.
I know, man.
It's another group of individuals. And I get back to the whole topic on Palestine and Iran. I don't support Hamas. I don't support the Iranian regime. I don't support the Taliban. I don't support any of these people. You know who I support? I support the innocent lives that are getting taken the fuck out because we're claiming that they're intermingled with these people. Yet we can put the Mossad can put cell phones in these dudes' pockets and make a strategic strike, which was pretty impressive, actually.
Pagers, yeah.
Yeah, you can do that kind of strike and you can hit a fucking leader of a regime in a certain part of an apartment with a specific bomb.
Mm-hmm.
But yet in Palestine, you had to carpet bomb the whole fucking place and kill kids and say, well, they're Hamas too. Well, guess what? They're probably gonna fucking become Hamas because they're tired of your shit. Yeah. They're tired of you coming and killing them.
Don't forget that that's been going on in Gaza and Palestine
for a long time.
Since like the 19-teens.
Yeah.
1917, 1919. Yeah. 1919 was the Balfour Declaration.
Yeah.
So the 1948, the state of Israel was born.
Correct.
1919 was the Balfour Declaration, bro. How many years is that from 1919 to 1948? Yep. How many years is that, right? That's 29 years.
Yep. They
had Palestine planned for 29 years, but it wasn't just Palestine. Ethiopia was one of their choices. Where do we ship all these poor Jews from World War II to? Well, before Palestine, it was Ethiopia. Argentina was a choice. Yep. Ukraine was a choice.
Yep.
But then they settled on Palestine because, well, they had hijacked Judaism at that stage. It was hijacked. It was Zionism.
Yeah, no, it is. And, you know, hopefully people can finally wake up and see a lot of this shit. And, you know,
these are evil people, bro.
I just want this country back, man. I want this I want America to be America, and I want America to worry about itself. And you know what? I stand behind these words that I'm about to say. We do not need to go kick the fucking UN out of our back pocket. Because at the end of the day, and look, I'm not saying the UN's perfect. No, by all means, no. Yeah. NATO, all that shit, no. I'm not saying that they're perfect. But I'm going to tell you one thing right now, and we talked about it a little bit earlier when I asked about how many IDF troops have went and helped us in the wars that they've gotten us into. How many fucking UN troops have come and helped us? How many Brits have you served with? I'm sure you've served with plenty of them. How many Australians? How many fucking people from France?
Spanish army, I served
exactly.
With. Irish army, I served with.
Exactly. And they were out there balling with us. You know what I mean? So look, maybe, especially the Germans.
Bro, the Ukrainians were out there sweeping mines for us every day. And saving lives with their minesweepers.
And I'm not sitting there saying, okay, yeah, their countries are figured out. They're fine. We shouldn't screw them over. But here's my thing and the way I see it. And I maybe see it the wrong way. I don't know. Who knows? But I feel like even Joe Kent said something similar. You're going to get rid of the largest fighting force that has had your back for the longest fucking time now. And who's going to support you after that? Who's going to have our back after we get rid of the UN? Really? Who's going to... Let's not count on the IDF because we know we can't. Who's going to have our fucking back and send out mass troops, planes...
UK.
Yeah, well, you know, hopefully.
Even before the UN, I mean, we've had an alliance with Great Britain for a long time, since the beginning of this country. So the UK will always be there. You could probably count on Australia to be there.
Yeah, I feel
there's definitely some countries that, despite a lack of a UN, that definitely would come.
Yeah, no, and I think the UN needs to get fixed. Oh, fuck yeah. Like, the UN's got a lot of its problems.
The UN's a prop, bro. Yeah. It's a prop. I'm sorry. It's a made-up agency with made-up missions and objectives.
It is. And, when you start looking at, for example, we can go down the rabbit hole of Ukraine, right? There was a peace treaty that was signed after the fact that the USSR got broken. Ukraine was to always remain neutral. Ukraine was to never go to be part of NATO. It was never to be part of NATO.
They're not allowed to be, but that's because Russia put that condition in place.
But think about it, right? How come only we're allowed to protect ourselves? You got to think about Russia too. They're thinking, hey, that's the back door to our fucking house.
Yeah.
We remain neutral. And when you look at it, Zelensky ran off of one condition, and he told the people of Ukraine, we will remain neutral, we will be this, we'll be that. The moment that he fucking took over and he had American politicians and AIPAC in his fucking back door, all of a sudden he started making these decisions. How are you going to sit here and say we got surprise attacked by Russia? They were mobilizing for months. They're mobilizing for months.
And don't forget that this has been going on since 2013.
And I'm not saying I support the Kremlin. No, but what I'm saying is, think about it. They're like, you're now fucking in bed with the Americans. You want those fuckers to be right on our back door. We don't want that. And that was part of the rule. You remember, there was nukes given up. There was all these things. But of course, people are like, well, where are you getting this information from, Chris? A fucking history book. Open the history book. It's right fucking there.
An older one, not a newer one.
Not a new one. Go get the old book and fucking read it. It's right there.
Yeah.
But you're also going to believe that fucking magically passports survived the Twin Towers.
Passports, on the ground.
On the ground.
Miraculous.
Yeah, that's the only piece of paper that survived there. Fucking get out of here with that shit, man.
Yeah,
we're not stupid. Our IQ is not as low as you think it is.
Yeah, I mean, Israel will never join us in a fight, a real fight, because they'll always claim we're too small, we don't have the numbers. But bitch, you fucking invade and attack every one of your neighbors, right?
Exactly.
You're occupying South Lebanon. You want South Syria, the southern half of Syria. Yeah, but you won't fight in Afghanistan or Iraq with us, or even you won't even fight against Iran other than dropping bombs, bro. All they know is how to drop bombs.
That's all they know, just drop bombs. I mean, look,
when they do ground assaults in Gaza, they get their asses handed to them.
Have you seen those videos? They're fucking embarrassing. You got guys literally going. I'm like, you're the IDF. I thought you were one of the best fighting forces in the world.
Nah, they're diaper forces, bro.
Fuck out of here with that shit.
They cry as soon as anything happens. They've gotten so used to dropping bombs and sitting on hills and cheering on the death of Palestinians that when they actually have to get into a fight, they have yet to fight actual men.
And another thing is, speaking to the Christians that are very critical of my thoughts and think that I'm being brainwashed by Muslims and Cubans.
Yeah, your mom thought you were converting.
Yeah, dude, my mom tripped out.
You're about to get me in trouble.
Dude, I know, bro. Yeah,
she's gonna call me, be like, "Did you convert my son?"
Yeah, what did you do to my son, dude? She literally had a conversation with my uncle about it. It was wild, but. Fucking, I'm like, I'm an adult, man. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Leave me alone.
I'm like, this is news to me. I didn't know.
Well, leave me alone, man. What the fuck? But
moms are moms.
Yeah, exactly. So it's when you kind of lost my train of thought there, but
well, your mom thought you were going to convert.
For the Christians, for my fellow Christians here who are very critical, and maybe you're not a Christian, maybe you're a Zionist, but for my fellow Christians who are very critical of these things and these thoughts and about how we shouldn't hurt each other, do all these things. What do you have to say for the settlers that are coming from Israel, that are walking around Palestine, that are in the outer areas of the Palestine area, in these smaller villages, and they're occupying these places? And
well, don't forget that they're coming from some European country first.
Correct, exactly. They're not even from that land as well. But they're over there beating women. They're beating the shit out of kids. Fuck, I saw a video the other day that the IDF guys literally shot a dude, or it wasn't the IDF, it was one of the settlers. He fucking shot the dude in the back of the head. Yeah.
The Israeli government arms settlers.
Yeah.
They give at least every family.
They literally pulled a woman and a husband out of their home while they were cooking and beat the shit out of them. And then the time that the husband stood up to him, the IDF came and rolled up on his ass.
Yeah.
How is that okay? Yeah. And as a Christian, who's somebody who claims that we shouldn't be doing this to each other, how do you accept that, and how do you justify the use of force against innocent civilians? And if you are sitting there justifying that, you're just as much as a fucking animal as them.
Yeah, because we're not talking about Hamas shooting rockets. We're talking about Palestinian farmers on their lands who are then eventually being overrun by settlers from a different country who are also armed by the Israeli government, who then show up to these people's homes and farms and force them out of those houses, off those farms. And if they can't force them, then they burn their crops and they burn their house, and eventually they get the land. When enough of these like cockroach fucking settlers show up, enough of them show up, they eventually take over that land. If you're a Christian and you're supporting this, you need to probably pick up your Bible and reread some of the places where Jesus said, and find me maybe where Jesus said this is okay.
Or shit, go hang out with some of those
Or just tell me where in the Bible, the Old Testament or New Testament, it says that these people can just go slaughter these kids, take these farms, and occupy this land. Where does it say that in either one of those books?
Yeah,
it doesn't. You're going to have a very hard time finding that in the Old Testament, but it's going to be almost impossible to find that in the New Testament. And Islam acknowledges the chosen people. We acknowledge the covenant that was made. We acknowledge the deal that was made that then was betrayed, you know? And so that's it. That's it, dude. Like when you betray God, why do you think, as Muslims, why do you think Jesus came when he did? Because the people betrayed God. They had a covenant with God. They were chosen. They betrayed that covenant. Jesus came to rectify that. But, you know, and then the rest is kind of history. Islam, as Muslims, we believe that what Jesus was given as the original revelations of a messenger of God were then later, over 350 years, converted into a altered Bible. And so that's why we don't believe in the Bible. But there is some truth in the Bible as Muslims that we believe in for sure. So I quote the Bible all the time. But in Islam, we say that Prophet Muhammad came to then rectify the corruption of Jesus' original Injil. Injil is revelation.
Yeah.
What he was actually told, what he actually said, versus what anonymous authors said he said. Because when you look at the different books, how do they start? Each one of the four Gospels starts how? According to.
Yeah.
According to. And I'm not bashing Christianity, but at the same time, I've gotten to a place where I feel like because Muslims are constantly getting bashed, because my religion that I know for a fact is peaceful outside of some bad actors is getting bashed, I have gotten to a place where I have to now present the hypocrisy of your own religion to you versus just defend Islam. Because not only do I have to defend Islam and explain things to you guys, but I also have to throw biblical verses and New Old Testament verses at you to show you how your own religion has done some of these things and continues to do some of these things. So where does that leave us at the end of the day?
Yeah, no.
At the end of the day, it really leaves us in a place where it's like, okay, can I acknowledge that there are some bad Muslims in this world?
Of course.
I can also acknowledge that there's bad Christians in this world. And also bad Jews in this world, bad Hindus, Sikhs, whoever. So then if we know that, if we can acknowledge that, look, not all of them are bad, but there's some bad apples that are giving everybody a bad name, why can't we set that aside and be like, okay, beyond that, let's get to know each other.
Yeah.
Right? Let me get to know you.
You're not bad.
Right. I get that you're Christian, but I want to know Chris.
Yeah.
I don't want to know this Christian man. I want to know Chris. And you want to know Kawa.
Yeah.
And through that natural exchange, you get to know who I am, where I came from, how I got brought up, same about you.
Yep.
And now we have this amazing understanding of one another outside of this one little disagreement.
Of what people are telling us to have.
And outside of this one grievance or whatever, stain, right? And outside of what we think about Jesus, versus Christianity, or Islam versus Christianity, what they think about Jesus, put that to the side and let's get to know each other, bro. We're neighbors. We live together.
Well, it's like when we first met, we were like, hey, are you Muslim? Hey, are you Christian? No, man. We fucking just started talking, had a cigar, pissed off because we didn't win a fucking staccato during the raffle.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like we had a good time. We talked, and, it was cool, man. And, none of us sat here and it shouldn't be that way, man.
No, because I didn't have a label that said Muslim or Muslim, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have a label that said Christian.
Yeah.
We are literally walking amongst each other daily.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody realizes.
And if I can say hi to you on the street, I guarantee that most of you, if my hi comes to you genuine and you perceive it as a genuine hi, you'll say hi back to me.
You know the funny thing that you said this earlier, you're like, you look more Muslim than me. I guarantee you, if we go walking into downtown right now at a nightclub or something, and we ask who's the Mexican guy and who's the Muslim, they're gonna fucking think you're Mexican with that mustache, dude.
The mustache, and
they're gonna be like,
that
fucker.
They're gonna be like, oh, he must be Muslim.
That fucker's Muslim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. It's
and we get along fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Nobody trips out.
I see people with tiny hats at the grocery store. I see Muslims with their hats. I see Christians who wear big ass crosses. You know, I recognize you. We live amongst each other. Right. So then why do we jump on this villainization bandwagon?
Because somebody tells us to.
Right. Because if I put a bunch of Christians, Muslims, and Jews in a room and I said, look, no one's leaving this room for the next 5 hours. So make use of your time. Dude, I guarantee you at the end of those 5 hours that these people would be like exchanging numbers, Instagrams, like say, dude, our
kids. Take away any outside influence and just leave people to be people. And it won't be that way.
Right. If I take all of that stuff off of you that says he's Muslim, he's Christian, he's Jew,
your phone, everything,
and you're just people, we're gonna get along great.
Yeah, most people would get along great, actually.
But then if I did the same thing and I brought us into a room, but all the Muslims had a Muslim label, Christians had a Christian label, Jews had a Jew label, you know, then be like, see, because immediately we're judging each other.
You know, I told my mother fuck, man, it's so funny. I had to make a long post about it today because I was like, wow, I can't believe my mom thought I was. You know, I don't know. My mom thinks I'm becoming a terrorist, I guess. So, you know, the crazy
My mom warns me too. She's like, you need to stop saying all that stuff. Yeah. I was like, what do you want me to do?
I was talking to my mom about it, and you know, I told her, I said, you know what you should do, Mom? I said, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Stop watching Fox News. Stop watching every 100%. News. Stop watching all the news. Smoke a joint or whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
Chill out.
Roll a fat one.
Yeah, she does.
Roll a fat one.
She does.
Better yet, pull out a bong.
Yeah, something. Just do something. But stay away from the phone, social media. Because, I mean, I'm going to say right now, I get guilty of it too, and that's why I get pissed off. But stop watching the regular news. Stop listening to what's going on in the world and just congregate with the normal human being around you. And just see how much life changes. It's crazy. It's crazy what happens when, you know, like this guy right here who's helping us produce the podcast right now. He's a young buck.
Dope, by the way.
Yeah, Jalen's a good guy. He's had some things. We'll sit there and disagree. I'll disagree with his ass. I don't hate him. I love the guy. He's a good dude.
It's not worth it. That's why. Yeah. It's not worth it. People make it worth their time to like, I think I have to say something. You don't have to fucking say shit. Shut the fuck up, dude. Live your life.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And it sucks when people, and it's different when you're saying something because you know about it, and when you're saying something just because you want to follow the rest of the herd. That's the difference between sheep.
Well, it goes back to earlier, like people are afraid to speak out because of backlash, because of ostracization.
Well, you're going to say what you think is right.
I don't want backlash.
Yeah.
I don't want to get fired. I don't want to be ostracized from my circles of friends.
Yeah.
That's why people don't say anything. But unfortunately, the tides are turning.
Yeah.
The tides in America are turning where people are not only are speaking up about it, but they're which implies some education.
Yeah.
Right. And the tides are turning. More and more Americans are waking up. More and more Americans are being aware of who the actual invasion is. It's not some Muslims in Dearborn or St. Paul. It's the Zionists that have infected and wrapped their tentacles around our government and our societal structures and verticals that affect your life every day. That's the real invasion. It's not some Muslims that want to open a mosque in Dallas, Texas or whatever. It's the people who run Dallas, Texas that are scamming you for toll money every fucking day when those tolls should have been free after we paid them off.
Dude, you know you get free tolls.
That's the people that should piss you off.
If you have a DV plate, you get free tolls in Houston. The moment you get to Austin or Dallas, that doesn't apply anymore. I'm like, damn, bro.
It's like, you know, so this is a Texas thing. If you're not from Texas, you may understand it because of tolls. But our tolls here, we were supposed to pay them off and pay for them until they're paid off, and then they weren't supposed to charge us.
No, they stay.
But they've been charging us for decades, is what I'm learning as a 5-year Texan. And now they're like, this is literally something I would run on because this is not a left or right issue.
No, this is a
livelihood issue.
Yeah.
Everybody can get on board with.
You know how much it costs to go down 99?
But this is the thing. Not everybody can get on board with saying, hey, leave the Muslims alone.
Yeah.
But everybody can get on board with like, bro, you're getting scammed on your tolls.
Yeah.
I'm paying an extra $30, $50 a month. So are you. Let's get together and hold people accountable and get this appealed.
You know what's crazy, Kawa, is and to go back a little bit on the acceptance of Muslims and stuff like that and judging and everything. We talk about Dearborn a lot. We talk about a lot of those places. Do you know what's crazy? You know how many terrorists we've arrested here in Houston?
How many?
A lot more than in Dearborn. I mean, the guy who legit did there's been some legit dudes that we've caught.
Are they Middle Eastern terrorists here in Texas?
No,
they Muslim terrorists?
Yeah, no, they're Middle Eastern dudes. One of them was an American. Mm-hmm. He was Muslim, American, born and raised Muslim and everything, but he was also a service member, but he definitely radicalized. He went the wild war out. He was a dude that did the shooting over in New Orleans. So I think he just literally whacked out. A lot of people that knew him were saying some stuff about him. But we found that guy, I think, if I'm not mistaken,
you're not talking about the one in New Orleans with the 8 kids.
No, not that one. Not
okay.
That one. The one during, it was like during freaking...
Further back.
Yeah, further back.
Yeah.
But there's been plenty of dudes that have been caught here. But when you go back to look at it, right? When you go back to look at the scandal of why there's been some legit terrorists here in Houston, if you listen to Sarah Adams talk about things, here in Houston has been a spot where some of these people have been granted to come live here because they made deals with our government after they've gotten in trouble, where they've gotten caught, with Al-Qaeda and stuff like that. So some of them have had ties here in Houston. In fact, she talked about a meeting that went down here in Houston with some of these high-level dudes right before a big, event. And I'm not saying that this is a breeding ground, but what I'm saying is might be somewhere where some of these guys got implanted because they made a good deal with the government. They got out of Gitmo, whatever it was, and they're over here. But
so wait, our government is aware of these people.
Correct, and that's why they've been caught. But here's the thing: when you look at them, they're not in a community here in Houston where all the Muslims are hanging out. They're not at the local mosque or anything. In fact, they're dudes that are in business. They have a lot of money. Right. And this has happened here. Yet we're pissed off because there's a shitload of Muslims in Dearborn. And look, a lot of people are like, well, they shouldn't be doing their prayer at 5 a.m. or whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. Look, I'm going to tell you something.
There's a solution for that. It's called city ordinances. I would ask you to petition your local municipality.
Exactly. And look, I'm going to be honest with you right now.
The mosques maybe won't do it.
If I don't like what you do for prayer, whatever it is, why the fuck do I have to basically portray you as an evil human being? Because here's the thing. Maybe you don't like what I do for prayer. Maybe you don't like me doing certain things, right? But guess what? Unfortunately, in the United States of America, that was created off immigration,
the one,
right? We have the freedom to practice what we want to practice. Well, here's the thing. All of a sudden now things are changing, right? We're like, oh, wait, hold on. We can't do that. We can't do this. I'm going to tell you one thing right now. Not everybody is a Christian. Not everybody is a Muslim. Not everybody is a Jew. Everybody has their own personal beliefs, right? So why are we fighting with people about only allowing certain things in schools, this, that, the other? You know what? You remember the Marine Corps? Do you remember every night when we're in tighty-whities? What did they let us go do? Pray. Go find your prayer circle. Go find whatever group that you belong to. Yeah. Go do it.
Protestants, go find Protestants.
Go Muslims, go over here. Go. Nobody was sitting there saying, oh, hold on. Like, no. Yeah. That's what I loved about the Marine Corps, man, is you get a motherfucker from all walks of life and you put them together. And at the end of the day, we had one thing in common. And it's what's on top of your hat right there.
Yeah.
And we had each other's fucking back no matter who we were. You could have been a blood and a crip, but they had each other's fucking back. Yeah. And unfortunately, our American citizens don't understand that. You got people who don't fucking sit here, if you're a white guy, telling me that, Muslims this, Muslims that, because you're also saying that shit about Mexicans, you're saying that shit about blacks, and that goes back to the black people saying that about whites, about Mexicans. Everybody's fucking prejudiced in this country. We have prejudice.
If you're racist, you're racist towards everybody.
Exactly. Don't sit here.
Not a selective.
Don't sit here and say those things. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm perfect. I've said some things before that are fucking wrong. And you know what? But I'm also not out there being a fucking idiot about it.
Right.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. We have to understand that this country was made off of different cultures, different communities, and we have to accept it. We're not gonna go to Queens and start saying let's get rid of all the Puerto Ricans because they're trying to take over, New York.
Yeah,
because there's a bunch of them there, but they congregate.
But that's it. America, whether people want to admit it or not, has become the melting pot of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And kind of like if you go to Singapore, if you go there, that's the melting pot of Asia. And guess what? The majority of them speak English. But America has become the melting pot of the world. So if we start out as a Christian nation, we certainly are not a Christian nation now. And I don't mean that as far as values. I don't mean that. It could be, it doesn't matter if there's a bigger population of Christians and only 2% Muslims or whatever. What I'm saying is that it's not a Christian nation. This is a free nation for all religions to come here and practice their religion, protected by the Constitution. So if you want to say it's Christian, great, that's fine. You want to say it's Muslim, fine. It doesn't matter. What does matter is what our Constitution says. So if you love America, then you have to love the Constitution. If you love the Constitution and you sit there and you discriminate against a group of people for skin color, religion, or whatever, you don't love the Constitution, hence you don't love America.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have it both ways. You can't violate the Constitution with your beliefs, but then also be America first. You understand? Like, your hypocrisies are have become so emboldened that you guys don't even see them. It's like you're desensitized to your own hypocrisies. And this goes for America in general. We have become desensitized because we are a society of like consumers.
Yep. Exactly.
We consume. We don't consume on our own accord. We consume what's given to us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right?
And that's just how our society is. They molded us that way, even with the credit. Like, right, even with credit and stuff like that. But, I think we can both agree on something here. And let's face it, right? If you have a radical Christian or radical Muslim, whatever it is, you do have these crazy people in this world, which we do. They're going to be everywhere. Rapists, everything. They're going to be everywhere.
They're all here in this country right now.
They're everywhere. Yeah, they're all over this world, and they're here. If there is a true bad person and they deserve the smoke, then fuck yeah, let's give them the smoke. You know what I mean? 100%. I'm not sitting here saying, because that's the other thing I could get accused of. Oh, now all of a sudden you're being a sympathizer for all these people. No, I'm not. You're a fucking child molester. You're a rapist. You're all these things. Fuck you. You get the smoke, man.
Yeah.
If you're a legit dude who's a Muslim who put on a suicide vest and you're gonna go blow up innocent people, then fuck you. Yeah, you get the smoke too.
Dude.
Anybody, those people get the smoke.
And we don't even call you Muslim at that point.
But exactly. And the other thing, man, we're gonna go back to. Let's stop portraying the Muslims as just being these mass murderers. What happens here in our nation? And mind you, I've as a law enforcement officer, I responded to one of these situations, and I'll tell you the ethnicity of the person. Active shooters in the United States. Tell me what they are: Muslims, blacks, Mexicans, stuff like that. No, the vast majority of them are white people.
White.
So if we're gonna sit here and start portraying Muslims and Mexicans as drug dealers, this, that, all these things, let's start portraying white people as psychotic.
Yeah, because they also say that Muslim men oppress Muslim women. We beat them, we kill them, we rape them, right?
Yeah.
But look at the FBI stats. Go to the FBI website, check the stat book.
Well, even check this. That's the other one.
I
mean, we should add.
But wait a minute,
we should add that to the link.
Which demographic has the highest amount of domestic assault, sexual assault, rape?
Whites.
White people.
And then here's the other
white
thing.
Christians.
Is when you
should I say that all white Christians are now rapists?
Yeah.
And wife beaters?
Yeah.
No, because that's silly. That's silly. You're fucking silly, right? For saying that all Muslims are terrorists or all Muslims want Sharia law in this country. Guess what? Whether Sharia goes on some document or not in this country ever, Muslims already live their lives by Sharia. Okay? I already live my life by Sharia. I know when to pray. I know what to do when I get married, my roles and responsibilities as a husband. I know how to handle it when I get divorced. I know how to handle myself in the case of self-defense if somebody's trying to oppress me. I live my life. You guys live your lives by Sharia. Maybe biblical law, maybe Torah law, but it's still some form of religious law.
10 Commandments.
That doesn't mean that Sharia is ever going to go on paper. Why? Because you got the amendment in the Constitution, which was the clause, I forget the actual name of the clause, but the clause that was put in place that said there will never be religion in politics or in government in general. So we're all protected from Sharia, guys. Okay, we're protected. No one's gonna. When you say that Sharia law is taking over America, it's not Sharia law is taking over America. It's that Muslims who practice Sharia, the laws of the Quran and the Hadith of Prophet Muhammad, we're just living our lives. So, in essence, if the Muslim population is growing, then Sharia is going to grow naturally.
After our last podcast, I actually literally read into Sharia law.
What did you find?
I'm still trying to figure out where the part is that I have to beat the shit out of women, kill people, and stuff like that, because I didn't find
Women have more rights in Islam than they do.
You know what I found? Something very similar to the 10 Commandments, a lot of accountability on how to be a better person, how to follow your religion. how to be straight, how to like legit walk the walk, right?
Right. You know what's halal and you know what's haram.
Exactly. And I think there's a guy that I found on YouTube when I was doing my research about it. I did a couple days worth of research on it, and I found one guy, he's really, really good at how he explained it. And he said the same thing. He's like, you know, if you're another person of another religion and you came to my mosque, he was, you know, he had his own mosque and everything. I forgot what state it was in, but he talked about, if you needed help, I'm not going to close my door to you because of who you are. He's like, I'm going to welcome you. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to help you see what it is that you need.
Like that lady that called all the churches for the baby formula. Yeah. And they all said no. And then she called the one mosque and he was like, well, where are you? I'll deliver it to you.
Yeah. You know, and there's, and this is why I get mad at some of these Christian churches. Because I'm Christian.
Bro, don't get me started on these mega churches.
Exactly. Here we go.
For another hour.
Yeah. I can't stand the fact of like, oh, my Starbucks is bigger in my church, this, that, the other, right? That I don't like that. I like the smaller churches. And if you actually read the Bible, right, the church is anywhere you make the church, right? The church can be right here in this room right now. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be in this big, ginormous mega building and everything, right? But when you go back to those kind of things, I've met many Christian churches that are actually very helpful. They do give people things. They donate all that money they get back into a lot of these people. But you know, I used to be part of a church where I was actually I signed up to serve the church, to help and to do things. And this is a pretty big church, and I'm not going to throw the name out there because I'm not going to be sitting there pointing fingers or anything. But when I was given an opportunity to serve the church, they asked me for my resume. Then they asked me if I wanted to be part of the pastor's security team. And I was like, oh, sure, you know, I'll help them out, whatever, you know. And where it really threw me the wrong way is we like literally watched this guy like he was God for some reason. Like we had to protect the shit out of him because he also said some wild shit. Then one day.
Was it a mega church or like just a larger church?
It was a mega church. Yeah. And we went to.
What a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. We went to Papa Do's one time. And I was there eating at Papa Do's, and he came and he had his legit private security team. He had contractors that he had working for him too. There's two dudes. And both, I think one of them was a team guy, and then the other one, I think he was a Marine, if I'm not mistaken. Dude, they literally got in between me because I was gonna go say hi to him, and he just acted like he didn't fucking know me. And I was like, man, fuck that guy. I never went back to that church again. I didn't even give him their little stupid earpiece because I was like, man, fuck you guys. Like, who are you? Because you know what? The God that I pray to, the God that I believe in, would have not sat there and put two people in front of me and let him and walk away like I don't exist.
I'm sorry, man, but no true man of God is going to tell his flock that you need to give me $1,000 for blessings. You need to give me 10% of your earnings before you spend it on yourself.
Well, that same pastor that I'm telling you, he used to be a delivery driver.
But it's not even 10% anymore. Now it's like, who's going to give a $15,000, seed? $15,000 seed, bro? What kind?
Some churches ask you for your actual financial stubs to be part of the church.
But that proves my point, is that these mega churches are Ponzi schemes. These are people who are not faithful to God. They're taking advantage of you. Get away from these mega churches. Go back to a local church. Find one. And go back to these smaller pastors who are actually men of God, who actually will preach from the Bible, not just talking about donations and tithings and seed for like 2 hours while they have pyrotechnics and 200-inch TVs behind them.
And if you read the Bible, go back to the book of Revelations and see what the messages to the 7 churches were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And see what God had to say about some of these churches, right? See what God had to say about some of these people. And when you sit there and look at, for example, this guy that
wolves and sheep
supposedly was over there, protecting him like he was the president. He went from being a delivery driver to all of a sudden having a supercar, big house on the hills. And you sit there and you think about it, you're like, okay, I get it. You're serving, blah, blah. You deserve a salary.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently you deserve a salary, whatever. I get it. You got to get paid for it.
Right.
But from going from like literally making ends meet barely to like whatever happened to living humbly. Like you're going to sit there and preach to me and tell me about being humble and living humbly and stuff like that. And you should give because that's the humble way of doing things. And that's this, that, the other. But then you get in your freaking supercar right after church and you're over there eating top end freaking food, living like a G. I know the clothes you're wearing ain't cheap. You're going to say all those kind of things. And then you have missions that go out and support people and everything. But when do I see you on those missions? Oh, because I'm too busy writing books and shit.
I mean, look at the absolute pillars of our religions, right? Jesus was a very modest man. He didn't spend his time, socializing with the uppity ups. He was handing food out to the poor people. He was trying to render medical aid and issuing out miracles for people that needed it. You have Prophet Muhammad for 23 years. This man spoke the word of God through revelations. For 23 years, this man slept on the ground. He died with no land. He died with no money. He died with no treasures, no empire, other than he built a nation. He brought warring factions of paganistic Arab tribes together and unified them under one God. The way the people that we respect and live or respect and honor, we need to go back and put ourselves in their positions of how they served their people, what that meant to be faithful, what it meant to believe in God. Those are the people we should emulate. Yep. Not these pastors with private jets and Rolls Royces. Not these people who constantly ask you guys for money, bro. These are not the people. They do not represent God. You need to go back to your Bible, go back to your Quran, and look at who, for example, for Muslims, Prophet Muhammad, how did he live his life? We should emulate that. We also emulate Jesus. Why do you think Muslim men grow beards like Jesus? Why do you think Muslim women cover their heads like Jesus' mother? Why do you think we prostrate ourselves to the ground like Jesus prostrated himself to the ground, and Moses and Abraham prostrated themselves to the ground? We emulate that. That's why Muslims hang on so tight.
Yep.
Because we want to be the best version of Prophet Muhammad and Jesus.
Kawa, I've had some friends that I've worked with in 2 different states that I've done like now healthcare, and they're Palestinian nurses, and they never questioned if the person was Christian or treated them differently or anything. In fact, like, they've been really, really good people, and one of them would always bring food to us and stuff like that. It was always nice and everything. And I think for me is, I want people to understand that just because you heard it from someone doesn't mean that that's the truth. If I tell you to go jump off a fucking bridge, are you going to do it? It's the same thing you tell kids, right? When they do something dumb. Are you going to go do that if somebody tells you this? No. Well, then exactly. All I'm asking of people today out of this podcast, if you're listening, is before you make judgment calls, before you make these big decisions, look into things first. Don't go judging people. Don't go. First of all, you shouldn't be judging people, especially if you like to refer to the Bible, right? And I know you can say I'm being biased because I'm judging certain other individuals or anything. I'm not judging them. I'm holding them fucking accountable for the things that they're doing. I'm calling them out on their bullshit is what I'm doing. And you know what? If I'm wrong, well, guess what? That's between me and God, and I'm gonna have to answer to that one day. Right. And that's just what's gonna be. So all I ask is for, just like Kawa asked me a long time ago, open your books, open your mind, and read and educate yourself. And just like they taught us back in the days in school, because I don't even know if they do it anymore, look at unbiased sources. Look at sources that are neutral.
Yeah.
Not sources that are funded by, for example, AIPAC. Or for example, if you're going to go sit here and talk about like vegans and stuff like that, don't go read something that's being, sponsored by PETA. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be biased.
Not to mention you have a ton of GPTs out there now between chat. I mean, I don't trust chat as much anymore, but I do trust Claude. Like, Claude is a pretty good source of knowledge, and you can obviously ask it to show you the sources, and then go to the articles themselves and read it. Did Claude get it right? Did it get it wrong? Well, at least he's pointing you to the source. He's just made your work easy.
Yep.
Right? You could at least be like, hey, give me those sources. Boom, boom. Okay, go read the articles. Come to your own conclusions then. But when you're seeing social media memes and you're seeing like people just slamming a group of people for no reason, and you believe it, and then on top of that, you echo it like a parrot.
Yeah. Especially GBTs now are biased. If you like, even Chat GPT, you can ask it certain questions, I'm not going to mention them on here.
Right. It's biased only towards certain topics.
Exactly. And I was like,
that's why I stopped using it.
I tripped out. I was like, whoa, dude, seriously?
A lot of people jumped off chat.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. I stopped paying my little bill over there.
Yeah.
No, man, it's been an honor to have you on again, Kawa. Honestly, like I said the other day, I was like, you're my like Sean Ryan, Sarah Adams. You're my Sarah Adams, but for this topic, you know what I mean? Like you come back and every single time you have a boatload of knowledge, you have a lot to say. And I feel like you and I can sit here and talk for hours, maybe days about this stuff because it's just there.
Just so much.
But I hope that just like the first podcast and the second podcast started to get slowly more people on board, I hope that this third podcast could really start to really get people on board, and hopefully we can get some of this knowledge shared out and not just, I mean, because I feel like the last one did really well. We did have a couple of little haters on there, but when you look at those guys, it's like, yeah. In fact, I think the last one was kind of funny because for like every hater, you had like 3 or 4 people coming right at them. You know, I was like, all right, cool, I'll take that. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I love my country. I want my country to get better.
That's why I don't address the trolls on my page, because like my people handle the trolls, but like people with legitimate questions like that are coming in genuine, I happily give my time to those people.
Yeah. You know, it's like a girl that I'm going to bring on the podcast soon. She was one of the first like infantry Marines, and she's a machine gunner too. So she like legit, bro. Yeah, she was one of like the first ones through the pipeline. She's a pretty cool girl, man.
The 0331.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Yeah, she's pretty funny, bro. She posts these videos of like the trolls that hit her up. Like, dude, these dudes are legit haters. Like, you fucking wook, you this, you that. Like, this is why the infantry's gone to shit, because of girls like you. Mind you, she hadn't even told them anything. They just write personal. She was like showing me the stuff that they say to her. And mind you, this is even before they even she acknowledges them or anything. And like she's shown like where some of them will like say something flirtatious to her, she ignores them, and then all of a sudden you fucking wook, and I'm like, damn, bro, tell me you have low insecurity, or you have insecurity problems without telling me you have insecurity problems. Tell me you're a little boy without telling me that shit.
Man. I mean, the haters are always gonna be there. I get haters. I've gotten everything from, I'm going to call the companies you work with and tell them to stop working with you because you're anti-Semite, to I'm going to sue you. I've gotten death threats from people. Mainly Zionists and Jews. But I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. When you decide to speak up against something, you have to expect those trolls. But you know, what we say in social media is you don't feed the trolls. Give your time to the people that deserve it, that are coming at you genuine, open-minded. Don't fuck the trolls.
You know, when you say that right now, I was over at a Battleground CQB in San Antonio. These are some pretty cool guys. They have that Covenant training group and stuff. And then they started their own little shoot house there and everything. Really cool guys. We go train there and we do a lot of filming with them and stuff. In San Antonio. Yeah, it's right behind the church actually.
I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Yeah, they're really cool dudes, man. I'm actually wanting to set up like a podcast event there, like a just, you know, have fun and bring people in.
Podcast.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Maybe we could set something up, or maybe you could run a course or something, like, you know.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be actually, that would be really fun, because a lot of guys talk about the videos they've seen with you doing CQB and stuff. It's actually a really cool house, man. There's a lot of really really difficult walls, and everything's got wheels, so you can move it. So it's perfect. Yeah, it's really neat.
Maybe I give some of my confidence in speaking about things and my ability to shoot well and be sound in my tactics.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is, so
I'm all right. I feel like
we were.
You know what I mean?
Dude, we were talking about this the other day when we were out there. One of the guys like, dude, Kawa's like the perfect fall guy. He's got to be careful. I was like, I know I get what you're trying to say. He's like, he's right though. I was like, no, he is fucking right. I said, but think about it. Every fucking Zionist cuck's dream is a guy like Kawa, because they're like former Marine.
They want me to radicalize.
They want you to radicalize.
They want me to go shoot up someplace.
Exactly, because they're going to be, see that? He was an Afghan Muslim and this, that, the other. And I always say that. I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm always keep Kawa in my prayers, because he's legit out there saying good shit. But I guarantee you there's some of these motherfuckers that are dying for the day for you to do something bad, so they could say, you see, he's a fucking liar and this, that, the other. So that's why
bring your A game. Bring your A game.
Yeah. That's what I told him. I was like, you know, the thing with Kawa, man, I was like, even if somebody wanted to consider him a fucking fall guy, I said, I asked you this last time. Remember, I said, or do you get nervous sometimes? And you were like, not for me, but for my family, you know what I mean? And which valid. And that's how I feel the same way. Because I do fear for my family because of some of the things that I'm openly saying now and stuff. For me though, you better pack a motherfucking lunch because I'm going to give you a hard time. And that's what I told my buddy about you. I was like, well, you and I both know that somebody comes up to that fucker, like they're going to have a hard fucking day, man. They better be on their A game, you know?
Yeah. And I got to tell you that ever since like this has become more mainstream with the amount of hate and threats that I get, that I've become more situationally aware.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always had good essay, but now I'm looking a little harder.
No, I 100% agree.
And because I have to. And it sucks because I know that if they wanted to hurt me, they wouldn't hurt me physically. They would hurt somebody that I care about, you know, because, you know, they try to do that with other people, bro.
No, that's exactly how it is, man.
But yeah, man, I'm the same, dude. I want nothing but the best for America. I want Americans to retain all of their rights and freedoms. I want us all to get along. I want us to identify all the bad apples, regardless of who they are, where they come from, who they believe in, their skin color. I want us to identify those bad apples and ostracize them from our society. Otherwise, I want all of us, Christians, Muslims, Jews, white, black, whatever, Chinese, I want all of us to live peacefully because, bro, when we live peacefully, we are a force to be reckoned with as not just people, Americans, but as a nation, as a force that now demands proper representation in our politicians, in our leadership. But we can't do that. We can't come together when there's so much divide. And on top of that, we add our own ignorance. It's just impossible, bro. And guys like me are working against the grain. Guys like Chris, we're working against the grain. But the more of you that waking up to all this and understand and get savvy to it, then we may have some hope and a chance at maybe fixing this country.
Hell yeah, man.
Maybe not in our lifetimes, but at least we can get some stuff going so that the next generation can properly fix it. And that's all we can do.
Hell yeah, man.
Otherwise, bro, love your family, fucking stay close to God, and don't be afraid to speak up.
Oh yeah. Well, shit, Kawa, thanks for coming on again, man. It's been an honor again.
Yeah.
And like I said, we'll continue talking and being friends and keep doing our thing, man. And I really appreciate
I'll see you in a few months.
Let's do it, man. Yeah.
Episode 4.
Yeah. See what
Who are we talking shit on this time, bro?
I don't fucking know.
Who are we dropping bombs on this time?
I don't know.
We
might be talking
metaphorically.
About Cuba. Actually, you know what? Let's put the bets out now. I think I'm going Cuba.
Ooh, Cuba. I'm going Turkey.
Oh shit, that's true. Damn, dude. I'm trying to get my hair
transplant before.
I'm trying to get my hair transplant before that goes down, dude.
Oh yeah, you gotta go over there.
Yeah, because it's in Turkey.
I might have to too.
Yeah, dude. Down to go, bro.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's go. We come back with like fucking. Did you guys convert to Judaism? No, those are Band-Aids.
No, dude, those are Band-Aids, bro.
Yarmulkes, yeah.
It's easy. They say like guys, the passport bros that go to Colombia, and then Turkey, you got all the guys coming back with their fucking.
Jalen's coming with us just to document it all.
There you go. Jalen's gonna document.
He's filming everything.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, I got family. I got extended family in Turkey, so we'll have a place to stay, and we have a family restaurant we could eat at.
Really? Ah, dude, I'm serious. Let's do it.
It's good to be friends with Muslims. I'm just saying, there's some perks there.
Y'all aren't gonna try to hurt me or anything, right?
No, we're just gonna feed the fuck out of them.
All right, dude, like Mexicans.
Yeah.
yeah.
Gone. They'll come back like 10 pounds fatter for sure.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, shit, man, it's been an honor, and now that I know, we got to set up something for Turkey, bro.
Yeah, man.
Before it goes down. So you got Turkey, I got Cuba. All right. All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks for having me.
All righty.